we should be good. Live. We are live. What's up, friends? All right, let's see if we can get this to work. It's totally not working, which is really frustrating. Oh, ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da. I am trying to get all my ducks in a row over here. All right, I might not be able to do my fancy streaming. Bello live. Let's go, people. All right, I don't know why I can't get this one to work. I'll turn on a little music. I can tell you that much, though. Audio. Let's go to my playlists. All right, we got some music going. All right, why does my stream say I'm not online? Did I start streaming? Oh, I lost my there it is. Yeah, I am streaming. Maybe I need to change out copy. All right, let's stop this for a second. I'm probably gonna crash the app. Damn it. Yeah, I crashed the app. Damn it. Son of a. All right. There we go. Come on, please work. Hey, look at that. All right, we got one going. Let's get my buddy Tick Fanny started here. All right, that should be working. Okay, cool. We got that going. Pop out chat. Look at that. All right, I can get all my chats up here in the window at least. Very nice. Very nice. Okay, let me get my TikTok chat up here. Sorry, Ghoul, what's going on? How are you? Thank you for stopping in. We're just, I'm just getting everything going here. All right, we got YouTube, we have got TikTok, and we should have text to speech, but I'm not 100% sure that's working. I guess we'll find out later. Hey, thank you for the I like the like. I like the like. How you doing today? Are you having a pretty good Monday so far? I always have a hard time on Mondays. Look at that, more hearts. I like the hearts. Thank you. I wonder if we're gonna get. So I'm simul streaming, simul streaming. I don't know. I'll figure out the right word for that. I'm simul streaming on YouTube and TikTok today, and we'll see how well that goes. Ultimately, I want to stream like on, pretty much most of the sites, but getting it all to sync with chat and all that fun stuff is not that easy. So we'll get it figured out. I'm just looking down because my puppy's right by my feet underneath the chair, and I don't want to roll over her. That would suck. Poor thing. You'll hear her yipe on camera, and I don't want to do that. So yeah, let's get rocking and rolling. So I guess I'm just gonna start diving in. Thank you. I appreciate the luck. Good luck. Hey, real quick, do you follow me? I don't know. I can't look at my normal TikTok, but if you follow me, it should read your message out loud. What's up, Intrinsic? Thanks for jumping in. I have a text-to-speech set up, but I don't know if it's working or not. Let's double check. Ooh, I think I can send a test message. Let's go back using Tickfinity.
Sorry, Ghoul says I did follow.
Look at that. It's working. Thank you. All right, let me turn down my music a little bit here, and that way we can balance the text to chat, and I can hear what you guys are saying. Oh, that's awesome. It actually works. I am very stoked. All right. So today the plan was to do a little bit of work on. All right, I'm gonna hide that. Let me get a little organized here. I got too much stuff open. Oh wait, I do need to leave that open. We'll just hide this window. Okay, now I can see chat for. What's up, Bio?
Sorry, Ghoul says no. I wonder if it has a filter. Trolls love to troll.
They do love to troll. It's working now though. It does have a filter, so I have it set up. You can set it up a couple different ways. I have it just set up so if you follow me, you can chat. That's obviously not necessarily going to weed out people. The next level up is if you heart me and you pay the 1 coin, you can set it up so that way. I guess that puts you on the subscriber level. I don't remember exactly, but then it filters out anybody below that. So I figure, you know what? We're mostly artists here that are going to join us today. Hopefully we don't get too many trolls, and worst case scenario, we'll figure out when we get there and have to ban somebody. We'll make it happen. So what am I going to do? Oh yeah, let's let me set up. I want to get a poll. I'm going to do a little mini poll, very informal, but today's Bello episode is about donuts. It's specifically, this is going to be episode 32, Donuts 3, The Last Fritter. So I figured, we're probably going to chat about donuts a little bit. And I also want to get everybody's opinion what their favorite donut is. It can be simple. It can be a glazed. I love a glazed donut. Nothing wrong with that. Do you like apple fritters? Maybe it's a maple bar. Or I know some people call them different stuff. Like where I'm from, they usually call them maple bars. But is that a Long John? I can't remember. But I know there's another name for them, which is pretty interesting stuff. I don't remember what I was watching some TV show and I saw that. But let me get a little. We're gonna get a little text doc here set up. Let me open up. What am I doing? Oh wait, here. Before I do anything else, let me get you on the right. There we go. Now we got streaming. Now you can see my screen, so you can see what the hell I'm doing when I'm working on Bello Bear. That makes a little more sense. Let me zoom out a little bit, make sure everything looks good. That looks pretty cool. I gotta get, I'll get all my stuff super organized as we stream more. Okay, I don't see anybody on good old the YouTubes yet, so we'll see. It might just be us TikTokers today, but we'll see. All right, so enough dilly-dallying around. I'm gonna open up just a text doc. If I can spell text, that'd be cool. There we go. New document. Let's call this the donut poll. All right. I guess we'll capital or we'll bold that. Wish I could zoom in a little bit here. We'll make it bigger. 72. That's a little big. 64. No. Keep going down. 48. All right, that's good. So I'm just gonna keep like an informal donut poll here, and we'll just see what everybody's favorite donuts are. I got 30. There it goes. So let's see. I'm trying to think of what my, I'll start. If you guys want to chime in, let me know. Ooh, thank you for the heart me. I appreciate it. That's awesome. Thank you. Sorry. That's really nice. Sorry, Ghoul. What's your favorite donut? Let's get the poll started. We'll keep this rolling the whole time. I don't know how many people will get in here because I'm just really getting started with streaming. But you know what? We can, we'll fill this sucker up with our own donuts. You know what? I think I'm going to go with a strawberry donut or like a Homer donut. I'll go with the Homer donut. I'll just call it a Homer. It's a strawberry donut with sprinkles on it, and that's really good. There's a donut shop it's pretty far actually. We're outside of about an hour outside of Tucson. So every once in a while we got to go to Tucson. There's a really amazing donut shop there, and they have just like the most fluffy donuts I've ever had in my life, and they're just amazing. And they make a strawberry one. You can either get the strawberry if they have them in stock, or you can get the Homer, which is the strawberry with sprinkles, and it's amazing. So I'm gonna put I think everybody knows what a Homer is. So let me know what your favorite is, and we'll get them added to the poll. What else we got going on? Let me look at my notes here. Do I have notes for this one? Bello. There's my script anyway. I think I already moved it away. What were our topics? Darn it. Sorry. Oh, that figures. Let me do a search. I guess I could just go look at my post I did earlier. That'd make it easy. Bello live stream. Haha, there it is. All right, so today we're going to do the donut poll, which we started already. Trying to think of other fun stuff to do. I mean, I know, Steve, what's going on? Thanks for stopping in. Let me know what your favorite donut is. We're doing an informal donut poll here. Today we're going to do the donut poll. You guys can ask me anything about me, about Bello Bear. Feel free to chime in. I am an open book. I'm happy to let you know anything. If you don't know already, I'm a graphic artist by day, and Bello Bear, my comic, was kind of my passion project, my lifelong passion project. And I was like, you know what? If I don't start doing it now, because I turned 53 this year. Good God. If I don't do it now, I'm probably never going to do it. So I'm kind of diving in. So if you got any questions about that or my regular work, feel free to jump in. The episode today is also going to mention apple fritters, which I like apple fritters. They're kind of weird though. That's me. They're kind of like the weird stepchild of the donut family. And then there's one kind of related to that, which is called a Dutchie, which I've never had, but in doing my research for this episode, I read about it, and I'm like, man, I want one of those. And I think it's pretty much like a northern Canadian thing. So if any of you guys know anybody that's from Canada, have them chime in and join us. And of course, like I said, chat about anything you want. I think what I'm going to just start with, let me move this back here so I don't forget my writing or my topics for today. I think I'm just going to start with the episode 32. It's called Donuts 3: The Last Fritter. Yes, it's a slight Star Wars reference. Um, and basically, I got my script ready to go. So I'm just gonna start working on the comic strip. We got to build the standard 4 panel comic strip, and then we're gonna dive into uh, creating the video version of that, which includes making the artwork, the panels for it. Then we got to do the audio, the dialogue, and of course put those two together and make it a video, which is a fair amount of work. So I don't know how far we'll get, and I don't want to bore you with some of this stuff. Gets really just boring. I don't know, just not necessarily boring, but repetitive. That's the word I'm looking for. Having a cough drop, so I don't cough in your face today. It gets a little repetitive, so if you're bored, we can move on to something else. And like I said, feel free to chat about anything. Let me know what your favorite movies are. I'm just kind of I'm going to kind of do my work thing, and then I just want to chat back and forth, and we'll hang out together. So, and it works best if you give me some input. Let's see. All right, so let's get started. I'm just gonna kind of talk out loud while I'm doing this, so you kind of know what the heck's going on. And let's see. So we're gonna do Donuts 3. This is actually. So I'll give you a little background, real quick background. I actually started this very beginning of the year, and I got through about 85 episodes. But then I decided I wanted to do, and it was just a traditional comic, so something along these lines, like a 4 panel comic, But I wanted to, something just got me thinking, and I'm like, I want to do a video version. I want to change it up, something that's a little bit more modern. I love traditional comics myself, but I wanted something that was, for the younger generation that doesn't want to necessarily read but wants to hit the play button. And there's a whole thing there too that we can do, which is really fun. So anyway, I'm like, at one point I said, I can just start doing the videos now from episode 85 or whatever I was up to, or I can go back to the beginning and start over and rewrite some of my earlier ones because they needed some love. They're a little rough. And do the video at the same time. So I'm starting with episode 1, and that's what I ended up doing. So this is actually an old one we're giving an update to. The artwork and everything I feel pretty good about. By this point I'd already kind of revised things, and I think it looks pretty good. But the writing needed a little bit of help. It's not easy basically telling a story with roughly 8 or 9 lines of dialogue. So as I've done more and more of these, I've gotten a lot better at it. So anyway, that's the traditional comic, just to give you an idea. And we're going to start, base this off the one I previously did, but I did an update with the rewrite. And, I think it just flows a little bit better. So let's get started. I'm going to go ahead and take the last one I did, which is episode 31, and I'm going to duplicate that. And like I said, anytime you want to chime in and you want me to shut up about telling you what I'm doing on the screen, feel free. I just figured that'll keep us going for now. So I take my last episode and I copy it, and I'm going to use that as my starting point. I find it makes it much faster than like starting from scratch every single time. And so I'm going to rename my file. Let's see. So this is episode 1. I need this one. And then I need this one. This is for making the video. And then the last one I need is my scene, where I create the artwork. So what I do this in multiple stages. I do, and then let's see, let me delete all this stuff out of here, and then I'll continue on. I do this in multiple stages where I create the artwork. I'm a graphic artist, like I said, and I use all the Adobe products. All right, let's delete that. So there we go. There's my starting point. Now I got my 3 files that are my starting point. I use all the Adobe products because, doing graphic arts, I kind of have to because that's the industry standard. We don't need to bother talking about Adobe and how annoying they are and all that fun stuff. But their apps are pretty darn good, and if you can afford to use them, which thank God I can write them off because of my graphics business, they do work pretty good. So what I do is I use, and we'll go through these here. I use Adobe Illustrator, and that's kind of my main drawing program, if you will. So you can see here, I kind of have I have the stage for the deli, and I can move the characters around. Like if I want to be in the front of the shop at the entrance, the host stand or host counter, I can move my guys up here, and then we sometimes in some of the episodes we use the TV. The last probably 8 or 9, I don't think we have, but every once in a while we'll use the TV, and that's another character, Lewis News. He's like a TV presenter, news guy, and he'll give us stuff to kind of talk about. So anyway, but the guys can be up front here, and then I also have them in the back counter where they make all the food, and so that's I try to switch it up so that it's not always in the same place. But so anyway, this is where I basically build each panel with the characters, the background, the scene, the stage, if you will. And then from there, I use my second file here is Adobe InDesign. And this is where I kind of take everything and put it all together. Here, let me zoom up, scroll up for you. So, and then basically the file that I showed you first, Illustrator, that gets placed into here. And that way I have my 4 different panels. And it's a good way for me to kind of keep things organized and make sure I don't screw anything up. Long story short, it makes it less likely that I screw something up, because with so many moving pieces, it's pretty easy for something to go wrong. So I put my art in here, and then I also have my dialogue that I have in here. And basically we take, this is the 4-panel version, then I take the 4-panel version, and then I change that into 1080 by 1920, which is video, like if you're looking at your phone, that's basically what that size is, and that's what all these panels are. And then we take the artwork we have from the 4-panel, move them down here, tweak them a little bit, we export all of that out, and then from there then I go to the video version, and this is going to be also Adobe. It's Adobe Premiere. And you'll see, so all the panels and everything go in here. I create some dialogue with the help of AI. I add some sound effects in here, and I'll kind of scroll through so you can see. Or here, I'll hit the play button for you. And so this is kind of where like all the pieces come together that we did. I didn't show you the creating the dialogue part, but taking all of those and putting them together. So I'll play it for you, and you'll see on the bottom bar, that's all these like green things. These are sound effects, and then all my image panels are on this top line.
Hello, I'm Bello. This is episode 31, Donuts Part 2. Man, I sure wish we had more donuts today, Bubba.
Me too.
So you can see like all the pieces come together, and it's so it's a lot of it takes a lot of patience, and it's a lot of work, but at the end I think it's it's a pretty good product, and it's doable for me. So like doing a whole one of these takes me about 3 hours, I'd say, give or take. If I'm chatting with you guys, then sometimes it takes me a little longer because I get sidetracked really easy. But these usually take me about 3 hours to put together. I'm going to start with the arcs. I'll start with the artwork. And so what I'm thinking is the first thing I'm going to do for you here. And like I said, chime in anytime. The text to speech should be working. So if you want to ask me questions or just talk about something else, I know this can get monotonous and boring. So definitely chime in, but otherwise I'm just going to keep going and explain to you kind of what I'm doing as I'm going. All right, so what I'm going to do, first thing is I am going to take my script. Oh, and then if you care, basically I'm on Mac, so I use just the Mac Notes app, and it's it works on everything. Like my it syncs on everything, my phone, my iPad, and so usually I'm writing my scripts kind of at the end of the day. We go to bed and we throw up some cartoons or whatever, or something, just chill, and it's a very nice chill environment. So I find I can write really well there. Um, but I write my scripts in Apple Notes. And so we've got basically our 8 lines of yeah, we do it. So it's going to be, usually it's about 2 lines of dialogue per panel. Sometimes there might be 3, sometimes there's 1, sometimes there's none, but on average we end up with 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy my script here, my dialogue, and I'm just going to paste it in here. I know the art isn't current, isn't the the right episode art, but I just start with this. Like I said, I do all of this in stages. So, I'm gonna get rid of this one. I'm gonna grab these 2 because I know we have pretty much 2 lines of dialogue per. Oh, come on! It keeps zooming around. 2 lines of dialogue per panel in this one. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get myself set up. I'm gonna make sure my styles are set correctly. Like I preset a font style for this. Like it's got the font, it's got the size, it's got the tracking, the space between the sentences, or sorry, the leading, and then even the tracking, so the space between letters, and how like horizontally I scale the font to 90%. So I'm just going to go ahead and make sure it's set to exactly that, and then let's do some copy pasting. I already pasted the first line. Let's go ahead and paste. And then I'll come back and, let me move my notes app over a little bit. That way I can just kind of click on it back and forth. So we're just going to copy and paste these in here. Boop. And then I'll go and, we'll tweak the font to make it fit nicely. Move the dialogue boxes around a little bit, all that kind of stuff to get everything to fit. And then we'll dive into the arts and updating each panel. I think this episode's actually, I like this one's pretty fun, I think. All right, so we got our dialogue. I'm going to zoom in here so I can just see it a little bit better. And I don't know if you can hear it, but we've got a Roomba thing and it's just banging against my door. It's pretty damn annoying. But it cleans the floors for me, so I'm not going to give it too much grief. All right, that looks pretty good. And then just so you know, I like to have, since my comics are pretty dialogue heavy. It's it's kind of like a sitcom almost, in comic strip form. So I tend to keep it on 4 lines. That's kind of my standard thing. So sometimes I'll go 3 if I need to, but most of the time I like it on 4. And if I really have a super long piece of dialogue, I'll put it onto 5 lines. But 99% of the time, it ends up being 4 lines. And it feels good. It's like the right amount where your eye doesn't get tired reading it. It's not too much. Let me go ahead and delete that. Come back to that. And so what I'm doing now is I'm just trying to make sure these all kind of fit inside the dialogue box. And then I'll go back and do some tweaking. You'll see. Let's pull this one open a little bit. There we go. All of our lines are there. And the idea being that, if you know anything about, nope, I got to keep that one out. Okay, there we go. For fonts, it's almost like I want to justify the font so it lines up on the outside where am I? There we go. It lines up against the margins like as straight as possible because it makes it easier for your eye to read. That way it's not, like if you're reading from here and then the next line's over there and then the next line's over there and there, it makes it tiring for your eye to kind of keep up. So I try to get them all to kind of flow as best as possible. And it's a little trick, of course, I got from my graphic arts, years of doing graphic arts. And that one. And sometimes, if it's like I'm really not happy with how the line breaks are, I'll go ahead and I might change the line a little bit just to make it fit a little better. Because for me, it's more important, unless it's something really drastic and I have to keep the line. For me, it's more important that it's easy for you to read, and that having a line not flow smoothly visually. I don't want it to take you out of the comic strip. I don't want you to be like, why am I having a hard time reading this kind of thing? Because it's not lining up, because I didn't line it up correctly. So let's see. Who's talking? Let me double check who's talking here. So first we got Bello and Avery. So that means Bello is going to be number one. All right, I think we're good with that. Let's go ahead and create the artwork for our first panel. And it won't be necessarily exact, or the first panel usually is pretty close to being dead on, and then we'll come back and we'll tweak the other ones and change facial expressions, move them around as we need, and those kind of things. But I really like getting my guys kind of set up here. And what do we have? Oops, I keep clicking on that. So we got Bello, Avery. I don't say which. Bello, Avery, and Bubba. Avery. Okay, there we go. There's my cue. So it's Bello first, Avery second, and Bubba third. And my character is going to stay in that position throughout the episode. So I'm going to just move Avery over here for now. So this is the back counter, where they make the sandwiches. So I don't really usually show them specifically like working on a sandwich or anything like that. But I do want them just to kind of look busy, almost like you can tell they're doing something. So most of the time they'll be looking down because they're focused on whatever that is in front of them. And then what did I say? Bubba. Okay, Avery's in the middle. So this is kind of a weird one. I wonder if I should move these guys to the front of the deli. Yeah, this is going to be a little weird. I kind of wish I would have wrote this a little different. Let's move, we're going to move Bubba over here. And let's get Avery in the middle of the two. All right, that's actually not bad because it looks like they're kind of, all working together. Or all, at least in a spot where it looks like they're communicating, you know what I mean? So let me I'm going to move Bello's head up a little bit here. So they're actually looking like they're all talking to each other. And I'm still not 100% sold. I like the way I have this, so we might end up changing our script just because of that. But let's see what we come up with. I think it could still work. And then if you didn't know, Avery, our plant bud here, actually does have a face. And it's this center leaf right here. Granted, he doesn't have eyebrows, he doesn't have a mouth. But it does imply there's something like a center point for the people to, for the other guys to talk to him. And we can move his, leaf up and down a little bit. So we can hint at emotion there. If you got your head down, you might be a little sad or depressed, or if you're looking up, you're more at attention, or you might be fired up. So we can give them kind of a hint of emotion. And let's take a peek. Let me double check the script. So we got Bello and Avery talking in the first one. So let's flip him around so he's facing Bello. Whoa, there we go. Let me double check here. No chat on the YT, the tubes. Those guys are not. I haven't had much luck with YT Live. I guess people just aren't that interested in live on there. All right, let's move. You know what? I think that's what I can do. I'm gonna move Avery right about there, and then I'm gonna grab Bello. I'm gonna move him over a little bit. So right now, like him and Bello are a little closer, so it looks like they're talking to each other, and Bubba is not, part of this particular dialogue spot. So we're just gonna move him just slightly out of the way. He's a little farther away from the other guys. So let's move him even just a little bit more. There we go. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and save. Don't. Yep. Okay. Make sure my file name is correct. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it in here into InDesign. So, and you'll see this is kind of why I do this. It makes it easier for me to separate that. I could technically do everything in Illustrator, but then I'd have layers and I'd have to crop stuff out, and it's really easy for something to get screwed up if I do it that way. So, so I'm going to go ahead and relink or link to the correct file, and we are in episode 32, and there's our file. And I'm going ahead, okay, boom, and there it is. So this is kind of our starting point. And what I'm going to do, since we're focused on Bello and Avery chatting with each other, let's go ahead and get this first panel kind of set up, like 99% there, so you can kind of see what I mean. So since they're chatting together, I'm going to put the dialogue correctly over, where they are. Let me slide this one over a little bit. I'm going to get rid of the voice triangle because Avery gets voice bubbles. Since he doesn't have a mouth, he doesn't really talk. I guess he's more of he's talking with his brain. I don't know. The guys can hear him. It's just, I don't know, just differentiates it somehow. So there we go. You know what? Let me flip the voice bubble the other way. Yeah, there we go. And I'm going to slide his dialogue over. So now it looks like the two are, talking to each other. The closer you have the dialogue boxes together, the more it feels like two people are talking to each other. So, I might even move this over a little bit. I usually do about that much space to show that two people are talking to each other. And I think what I'm going to do too, like I said, I want to get this thing like 99% there for panel 1. And that gives you a good idea of how I set these up. And then also, we'll use this as our starting point for all the other, for 2, 3, and 4, panels 2, 3, and 4. I'm going to move Avery's leaf just down a little bit. So it looks like, he's kind of leaning in, talking to Bello. We'll go ahead and hit save. And then we'll go back here and we'll update. Yep, there we go. That works a little better with the voice bubbles. I might squeeze these a little bit up. There we go. All right, that looks pretty good. I might slide it. I'm just being picky here, but I'm gonna slide this over a little bit. And like I could sit here and tweak this till nauseam because like I always see something. Oh, this could be just a hair over, and I'm ridiculous. But I guess that's what makes me a good graphic artist too, is attention to detail. So, all right, so there's our panel 1. That feels pretty good. I don't know if I want to maybe slide these guys over just a little bit more, since Bubba isn't part of the convo. Yeah, let me do it by hand. I'm going to use the arrow key. It's a little easier sometimes to control how far you want it, especially if you're just nudging it a little bit. The other thing I just realized I want to do, Bello's mouth I think is fine because he's a little sad that he doesn't have donuts. So I think we'll keep that the way it is. Bubba's not talking in this one. So we are going to give him a just neutral closed mouth. Oh, and then I don't know if you've seen my other streams, but I use a lot of techniques and things from making cartoons. So I have my characters ready. I have them changed, rotated, 360 degrees, if you will, or 45 degrees. Each rotation. So you see Bello here and all of his turning around, and then I have all my face pieces. I have different eyes, and I have different mouths, and I have different legs. So most of the time he's standing still. There isn't too much action, but if I need it, I do have Bello walking / I don't think he does too much running, but he's got walking feet too if I need him. He's got different poses. He's got crossed arms, just arm down by his side. Semi-crossed arms, more kind of like, if you did this, like if you're worried about something, you might do that. or if you're just a little closed off. When you're full on like this, you're pretty much telling people stay away. So I use those all to convey emotion. We got closed mouths. I call it, the high mouth, which meaning that there's a lot of emotion there. So he may be happy. He may think something's funny. So they kind of, they can kind of go for different emotions, but they're all like happy, high, happy emotions. And then, of course, going down to being sad and down. But in any case, let's grab the closed mouth. And we're going to slide this over here. I'm going to rotate it just a little bit. When it comes to cartoons and comic strips, you should probably know, the comic is in your name. You never want everything to be perfectly lined up or exactly the same, because it just looks crappy. It doesn't look natural. So I'm going to get rid of his eyebrows because he's just basically listening along. I think I might give Bello some eyebrows. Let's just flip these around, and I'm going to use my arrow keys just to slide them over a little bit here and there. Feel you got a little bit of better control. I'll rotate these just a bit and put them up there. So he's got a bit of a exacerbated, look on his face, which I think is perfect because he's wanting donuts. I want some donuts too, man. Damn it. Oh, I want donuts. All right. I am going to actually move these over a little bit. Let's move the triangle and the boxes. Oh yeah, I forgot to hit the update. There we go. That's looking pretty good. So we know Bubba's in the shot. We know he's going to be talking at some point. But the focus is on Bello and Avery. Bello's not very happy. He doesn't have any donuts. He wants more donuts. And Avery, he doesn't show that much emotion anyway because he doesn't have eyebrows or anything, but he's pretty good where he is. The other guys kind of have to make up for him to show emotion. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to delete my other panels that were the old art. And I'm going to go ahead and just basically copy panel 1. And that's going to be our starting point to do the other ones. And then let me grab this. I want to make sure that it's a long story, but basically my bottom panel 3 and panel 4 don't line up. There we go. It's snap to point. They don't line up exactly as they do at the top. They're a little bit lower. It's because of margins and all this other stuff. But anyway, so I manually go in here. I make sure I kind of look at the top one, how it lines up, so you can kind of see the voice bubbles are on top of his leaf. I just try to make sure it matches pretty darn close. And that way we're consistent, especially, and this is especially important for the video version of this. That's where you really notice it. But anyway, so we got that fixed. And I'm going to go ahead and just, use these as my starting point. I know, we still got to tweak them, but let's take a peek at panel 2. So panel 2 is still Bello and Avery. So we can actually keep this one positioned the same way with Bubba off to the side a little bit. And let me get the voice triangle for Bello. I'm going to grab the bubbles for Avery, and I'm going to slide these over a little bit so they look like they're centered a little bit better on top of the characters. That looks pretty good. And then I'm going to do the same thing down here. Bello, and then okay, so this one's gonna be, what did I just see? Bello and Bubba are talking to each other. So this is a little interesting because now we're gonna have to center all characters, and I'm gonna end up moving him in a little bit, but we'll do that in a second. I'm just trying to get like a rough layout here so I know where everything is and who's talking. This will need to move over closer to Bubba. And then the last panel, let me confirm. It's Avery and Bubba. So in this case, we're going to move this over, and Avery and Bubba are going to be chatting in this one. I might say this is one of those spots where going down to 5 lines. I try to avoid it as much as possible, but going down to 5 lines is just going to work better. because I don't want it too wide, you know. I want it to kind of try to stay centered over whoever the character is who's talking, so it works a little better. And we'll slide this over. We'll do some more refinement, but you get the idea. It shows you, you know, who's talking. So there we go. That's fundamentally, you know, where everything needs to be. Now I'm going to go and I'm going to tweak the dialogue boxes a little bit, maybe rewrite some of the text a little bit to make it fit better. And we're just going to tighten those up and make them try to fit as best as possible in the dialogue boxes. So we'll start with panel 1. And I'm going to squeeze donuts a little bit. So I'm going to take out some of the tracking. So the space between letters, I want it to go in. So I'm going to go -20. And I use key commands for pretty much everything because I've been doing, you know, graphics forever. So you won't see me clicking on menus and stuff a lot. You'll just see it kind of happen on screen. And then, so I usually go like -20 for tracking. I generally don't go more than that because then the letters are going to start touching each other. And I don't want that because it makes it hard to read. The other thing I do is I do compress it to 80%. Like my base is 90% and then I'll go down to 80. And then I can squeeze the dialogue box a little bit if I want to. This one, I don't like this dialogue box because I have Bello. In graphic arts, we call it a widow. That last word on a paragraph or sentence, you don't want it just to be there by itself, basically be a widow. So I'm not sure what the heck I'm going to do with this. We finished those 2 days ago, Bello. And you can see like we finished is like really long compared to the other lines that are here. Let me see. And just to do like a little bit of a, so like I'll add like a word, maybe 2 in there, just to give it some better line breaks. And it doesn't really change the story or anything, but it just helps it visually look a little bit better. Let's see, Bello, this is one of the easiest ways I do this. Bello, we finished those 2 days ago. See, look at that, much better. Oops. Let me open up this box here. So just literally moving Bello from the end to the beginning did the trick. Oh, God. Sorry about that. Good gravy. Allergies have been going nuts. So just by moving the word Bello, his name, to the beginning. Oh, it's okay, buddy. I scared the puppy with my sneeze. I sneeze really loud. Here she comes. Do you want to come say hi? All right, come here. Come here. Here's Harley. Here, let me tilt this down. See, bud? Mwah. That's Harley. Can you look over there? Say hi. She's a sleepy puppy. Right, bud? And she's tired. I don't think she's been feeling too good the last day or two. She's been a little mopey, but she's still really lovey and loves to snuggle. All right, but I can't work with you sitting right here because you're right in front of my keyboard. Come on, come lay down. Good girl. Are you going to go back down there? Okay. She does like laying on the floor because I've got, like a glass office mat or whatever, like a chair mat, and it stays nice and cool, so... So let's see. Bello, we finished those, and I'm going to change the letter or the number 2 to actually spelling it out. I think that, what is it? Grammatically, you're supposed to spell it out for anything under the number 10, I think. So I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to squeeze these a little bit, the top line as well. And the idea is I want them all to line up to the margin as close as possible. So you can see, except for the word finished, these all line up really well now. So it makes it easier for your eye to read down. It just it definitely makes it work a little better. And I'm going to slide this over a hair. What I really love to do is have, let me make these a little closer. There we go. What I really love to do is have the dialogue centered on the panel, which would be about there. But it's so far off, especially with the dialogue boxes being kind of narrow and short since they don't have much dialogue there. I'm just going to leave it over here and be slightly off center. But it doesn't, we've got Bello kind of off to the side, so it balances out pretty good. But the whole point of all of that is I like to have things centered so your eye kind of naturally moves around the page. So there we go. All right. I feel pretty good. That's panel one. That's looking pretty good. Ooh, I do see one thing I kind of want to change, and that is another thing I steal from cartooning. I always wanted to be an animator and do cartoons. So I learned a crap ton about it, and just did it myself for a lot of stuff, but I never professionally did it. But a lot of the techniques I use. So in this case, I use another technique from cartooning, which is foreground, middle ground, background, to give you depth, 3 dimensions. And as I'm looking at my 3 dimensions here, I'm not super stoked on where the table is, the front table. Let's see, okay. We see a little bit of the top of the table and then the chair. But I think what I'm going to do is just slide it over. There you go, just like that. And maybe we'll move it up a hair too. Let's go ahead and hit save, and then we'll see how it looks in InDesign. Let's update. There we go. That feels a lot better to me visually, because now you kind of have like these natural sight lines. The middle chair kind of lines up under Bello. The other chair kind of lines up under Avery. And it's just like offset a little bit. You get to see the pick up here sign. It just feels a little bit more natural. Feels a little better. So with that said, let's keep moving on. We'll tweak the art for the other panels in a little bit, but I'm going to finish working on the dialogue panels. So just like the other one, I'm going to squeeze these with tracking, and then I think pretty much I'm trying to line up on the apple fritter no line. So I'm going to go ahead and squeeze the top one above it, and then I'm going to squeeze this one. I guess, fundamentally I try to get 3 lines of a dialogue box to all line up together. And this one has another widow, but I don't mind this one as much because we do have the triple dots, and it's almost like an extra word. And it kind of puts an emphasis on the triple dots, like, hey, I'm still talking here, kind of thing. So I'm going to go ahead and squeeze this one. And this one's just, it's going to be a little bit off. It's not going to be perfect. And it doesn't have to be. I'm more picky about it than probably than I need to be. I just, try to make everything perfect, and it's never going to happen. So, same thing here. These all line up pretty nicely now. And this one's a little weird because we don't have the 2 characters that are talking right next to each other. So this one's going to be a little weird. Let's see, this line, I don't mind it. Let's see how much we can squeeze out of just throwing everything, squeezing that line. If I can get, and I got the letter or the word in popping up there. If I can get those, the top and the third line to line up pretty well with make an apple pie, then I'm good with just leaving my words down at the bottom, because your eye does naturally progresses down there, so it's not too bad. Let's slide that over a little bit. The other thing here is I look at the top corner here, and I try to get that dialogue box kind of shoehorned in there with the margin the same at the top and the right. That feels pretty natural. So since Bubba's line is a lot longer than Bello's. And then last but not least, let's see if we can get this tightened up a little bit. Oh, and just to throw it in there too, I'm giving you probably way more information you ever wanted to know about doing fonts and text. The shorter your dialogue line is, the less you have to worry about everything kind of lining up on that margin. Because the shorter the dialogue line is, the less you have to read and the easier it is on your eye. So in this case, historically, they date back to the 17th century, is fine with it not all lining up perfectly. That's why I'm not going to bother like rewriting this one. This one, let's see if we can squeeze it. This one's a little tough. There we go. I squeezed 20 on minus 20 on tracking, and then 85%, and we're still sticking out a little bit here. This one's bothering me a little bit, especially being a 5-line dialogue box. So let's see. Enough history, Avery. Enough history, Avery. Do I need the triple dots there? I'm not sure I do. Y'all ever try a Dutchie? Them raisins are the game changer. We could probably do our A game changer. That gives us takes a little bit of space out there instead of the. Let's see how it kicks down. Oh, there we go. Look at that. Just a simple little thing like that, and it's much better. And then, you know what? Let me go. I'm going to undo what I did before since we changed it. Let's go back to our starting point of 90% horizontal scaling and 20% or 0 tracking. I'm going to go and try to. Derek, what's going on? Welcome. We're working on comic strips. And for today's episode, and I'm just working on getting my dialogue kind of tweaked and looking pretty.
Derek Fleece says nice.
Yay, text-to-speech is working. Thanks for joining. Oh, hey, real quick, I am doing an informal donut poll since our topic today, the story is about donuts. And as a side thing, I want to do a donut poll. What's your favorite donut? And we'll get you on the list here. Mine is the Homer, basically a strawberry donut with sprinkles or strawberry glaze. So let me know what yours is, and we'll stick it on the list, and we'll see whose donut wins at the end of the day. Okay, so I'm good with Bubba's.
Derek Fleece says red velvet.
Ooh, okay. That's a good choice, my friend. Red velvet. That's a really good choice. And those are damn good. Oh, damn it, now I want another donut. Oh, and I'm craving donuts, but I'm on a diet. I've been picking out a little bit for the last couple weeks, so I'm trying to not indulge, but it's hard. It's really hard. All right. Let me slide this in a little bit so hopefully we can see our poll. All right. So I'm working on. We're getting close with the finishing this sucker up. We've got panel 1 is pretty much 100% done, artwork wise, and the dialogue is all set. Then I was finishing up dialogue, getting all the dialogue I want to kind of sit in between the margins like as evenly as possible, and I think we got where we need to be. Sometimes it just you can't get them perfect, but you do the best you can. And so like if you look at panel 4 here, historically they date back they date back kind of sticks out a little bit too far for my liking, but it's a shorter line, so it's really not a big deal. So next up, we're going to go and do panel 2. I need to update the art. For my comics, it's not that big of a deal. Or it's not like visually, they're not that crazy. Because unlike, like a comic book like Superman or Batman or something, there's a lot of action. So you see, people moving around and fighting each other. And for my comic strip, it's more of almost like a sitcom. So I do want some movement, but it doesn't have to be all, crazy. And the focus isn't necessarily the visual. It's more the story and the dialogue, and then the imagery tying well to it. So anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use panel 1 as my starting point. And we're going to go ahead and I'm going to do a save as and do this as panel 2. I can't tell you how many times I've forgotten to do a save as, and then I have to go and redo a panel. It sucks. And so I know panel 2, it's still Bello and Avery talking to each other, but let me look at my script here. Panel 2, Bello says, I'd even take that apple fritter no one wants. Always last in the box. And then Avery replies, actually, apple fritters have a fascinating history. Avery always chiming in with his useful facts that nobody cares about. Or are they useful, I guess, then? Bubba pretty much can stay the way he is. I am going to move him a little bit. I am going to move his arm. Again, that was kind of my point was, mine's more like a sitcom than an action story. But even like if you and I are talking, I mean, you see my head moving around, I'm talking my hands, you're never staying perfectly still. So I want to do that with my characters too, because it's going to make it look more natural. I'm going to move his head. His mouth can stay fine because he doesn't have a line of dialogue in this one. So I'm going to move his head down a little bit. Forgot to grab his eyeballs, and I moved his arm. So he moves a little bit. I'm also going to grab everything and tilt him forward a little bit. Make sure he's still standing on the box. That looks good. And then Bello. I think we can get rid of the sad mouth. He has the sad mouth in the first one because he's like, I want more donuts. So we're going to change that. I think we're going to go with neutral because now he's kind of like, it's more of natural conversation. Whoops. Let me grab that and rotate it slightly. And then I'm going to get rid of the eyebrows because this is more just like natural conversation. And we'll slide it over just a little bit. And I'm going to move his head as well. Again, I'm just, the whole point is I want to move stuff around a little bit just because, like I said, natural conversation, we all move around. So it just makes more sense. All right, let's save. And then we're going to pop this into here. Let's go find panel 2. There it is. Cool. All right, that looks pretty good. Make sure my dialogue boxes are lining up, looking pretty good. I think this one could go over 2 notches and slide everything over. There we go. All right, that feels pretty good. You know what? Oh, let me, last thing, I want to change Bello's arm position. It's almost like I can imagine him like kind of moving his arm up. So making a point to Avery, with he'd even take the the apple fritter, the last donut in the box. All right, let's update that. There we go. That looks pretty good. Looks like a natural conversation. All right, let's go back again. So next one, we're same thing again. We're going to use panel 2 as our starting point. Do a save as and do panel 3. There we go. And let's look at what our dialogue. This one we've got Bello and Bubba. So I'm gonna move over Bubba and I'm gonna tilt his head up a little bit. I mean, I know that right now they're like almost like talking to each other through Avery because we see it in 2 dimensions, but 3 dimensions. I just want to make sure their eyeballs are lining up. Because in reality, in 3 dimensions, these 2 are behind the counter and Avery's in front of the counter. So they would actually see each other directly. Let's see what our line is. They are kind of weird though, right? Are they even a donut? Like someone gave up making apple pie and just threw everything in the fryer. All right, so I think he's kind of joking a little bit, even though it's probably true. I'm guessing that's how that thing came about. But we're going to give him a happy mouth. Not quite, like ha-ha joking, but he definitely thinks he's being pretty funny. And go ahead and we're going to raise his arm up in this one because he's making a point. There we go. And then Bello's line. They are kind of weird though. So, I think actually his mouth is good there. I'm going to rotate his arm back down a little bit. All right, let's just see how that looks. We might do some more tweaking, but I think we're probably pretty good there. So let's relink this in here. We're going to go panel 3, open. Nice. That looks pretty good. They're kind of weird though. I don't know if I want. No, I was gonna say, do I want eyebrows on Bello there? I don't think I do, because he's just kind of calmly chatting out loud. All right. Bubba's line, you know, I want to move him over a little bit. I'm going to do the same thing with Bello because they are talking to each other. So I want the dialogue boxes to be a little closer together. Like usually, you know, I have them this close to each other because that way we know who's talking to who. But in this case, Avery's kind of in our way, so I think I'm going to do it that way. That looks pretty good. Now they look like they're talking to each other, and Avery's kind of excluded from it, which he is, so that's okay. Let's go ahead and do panel 4. This is coming together pretty quickly today. Panel 4, let's do a save as. Stefan came in and ducked out. And then this one's going to be Avery and Bubba talking to each other. So let's go ahead and first thing right off the bat, I'm going to go ahead and give Bello a closed mouth. Slide that up. And I want to rotate this just a hair. You know, in nature, nothing is ever perfectly straight. So kind of, you know, that's what I learned from cartooning. You got to move stuff around. And then I'm going to slide him. Let me make sure I grab his arm too. I'm going to slide him over a little bit to the left. And then I'm going to rotate our buddy Avery. So that way they're face to face. Just tab it over. And then what do we got here? Historically, they date back to the 17th century. Very, very Avery line. Always trying to get some history in there because he's a smart ass and knows everything. Enough history, Avery. Y'all ever try a Dutchie? Them raisins are a game changer. I forgot I changed that too. Them raisins are the game changer. Let me double check his line now. Now I'm doubting myself. I got enough history, Avery. Y'all ever try a Dutchie? Them raisins are a game changer. You know what? I'll copy and paste that later. I do that anyway to make sure I got all my copy right for when we start doing dialogue. I got to make sure it matches up. Anyway, I'm reading this out loud because I'm trying to figure out what kind of face, and I think I want to put. I think, you know, the semi-happy mouth I think works fine. I think I'm going to add some eyebrows because of him talking about, you know, the Dutchie. Paste. Let me flip those around. There we go. I'm going to rotate them just a little bit. Now they line up a little better with his eyeballs. His eyeballs! And I'm going to rotate his arm a little bit more, I think. Almost like he's in thought. Like, hey, focus, pay attention to my mouth. I'm telling you something important. You know. Let's go with that. And let's hit save. And then we're going to bring it in here and we'll see how it looks and tweak if we need to. Panel 4. There we go. Since we're that far over, you know what? I'm going to move Bubba a little bit more to the right. I know his butt's sticking out over here, and he's standing on boxes. But I like showing that because it's really cute that, you know, Bubba is kind of short. And it's nice to see that, you know, he's got these platform shoes, and he's standing on boxes. All right, that works a little better. I really wish I didn't have to go to 5 lines on this dialogue, but it's a long one and I get weird line breaks. Let's move. Whoops. Hug. I gotta give Avery always has the thought bubbles, so let me get those in there. You know, I'm gonna squeeze those a hair. There we go. There we go. That looks pretty darn good. I like that. I like it. Let's go with that. So we're going to go ahead and hit save. Next step I'm going to do is I'm going to copy all my dialogue and I'm going to paste it back into my script. Now I know most of these I did not. Let me go ahead and save and close out of there. I'll hide that app. I know I didn't change most of these, But because I don't remember exactly which ones I did, I end up just copy and pasting all of them just to be safe. Because again, I'm going to use the script to do the, the dialogue with the script. And if some of these aren't the same, you're going to notice. So if you're like, watching the video and you're hearing the audio and then you see the voice bubble on the screen and they don't match, you're like, it takes you out of it. And it's like, okay, why doesn't that match? Which is very frustrating. Panel 3, copy. What am I? I'm going backwards. So I'm getting myself distracted. And that's when you make mistakes. All right, here we go. Now we're back on track. Panel 3, paste. That one didn't change. I think this one may have. No, I guess not. Usually you can tell because like you can tell because the length of the dialogue changes. That one is the same. Oh, you know what? It must have been this one because I think we changed it from the raisins are the game changer to them raisins are a game changer. There we go. All right, we're good. So next one I'm going to do is I'm going to export. We need to export this because we're going to bring all the panels into, well, one, we need the 4 panel to post on the socials later. And then we also are going to need them for the video version. And we're going to make those are going to be slightly different than what we have here. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and export now because one other thing I do as well is I go talk to my AI writing buddy, Claude. And I'm going to show him the episode. There we go. Let me bring that over. And I'm going to have him proofread it. He does a really good job. This is where AI is wonderful. It can be a really good tool. And instead of me trying to proofread it 20 times and I'll read the same thing and I'll miss it because I'm slightly dyslexic on top of it. Having a second eye to proofread your stuff is amazing. So let's ask him, hey bud, can you check this one? Check. Oh, that's what I'm missing. I missed the H. Check this one. Any typos? And so he'll read it for typos, for grammar, and he'll tell me like if he sees any major issues. Like even if I change my dialogue, did I forget? Did I miss something that now is grammatically incorrect? So let's see. Episode 32 looks great. Woohoo! That's good news. I don't see any typos. Dialogue flows well. The character voices are distinct. Then he'll kind of break it down panel for panel. So I kind of skim through what he says, especially since he said everything looks good. 2 character per panel format keeps conversations focused. Agreed. Oh, okay. See, this is another reason I do this. I forgot that I had an editor's note, basically me at the end of this episode in the original. I'll pull it up for you so you can see what I'm talking about. And this is like, I'm surprised he didn't say it because he didn't see it in the art, but because he mentioned it, because it was in the script, now I know that I missed something. So you can see here in the end, I put editor's note. We're done with donuts for now because we did like 3 donut episodes in a row. Let me get that in there. So this is another good, see, this is why you have him proofread your work. Makes a big difference. See, I had it in the original one. I'm kind of surprised he didn't say that it wasn't there. I don't know how well their visual, AI's visual interpretation is of what it sees. So let's go ahead and put this in here. Editor's note. Let me squeeze this top line. That looks a little better. Ooh, I guess I get to do a voiceover in this one too. How cool is that? I usually, usually it's not me. It's just the boys talking. Let's go about right there. I think that looks good. Editor's note. We're done with donuts. We're done with donuts for now. You know, I'm gonna do instead of doing it in brackets, I'm gonna do for now, do ... like dun 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 for now. All right, it's just a little bit more fun. I could add even like a question mark on there, but I think that we're just being silly. I don't want to take away from the story just because I put in an editor's note either. That's kind of not the point of an editor's note. Okay, so here we go. We got all that done. Now we're going to work on the art for the video version. Oh my God. I got bit by mosquitoes today walking the puppy. And the bites are driving me insane. So if you see me leaning forward with a kind of grimacing face and moving up and down a little bit, it's because I'm scratching my damn bites. Oh, sucks. Now we get, we're in southern Arizona, so we get monsoons this time of year. They're actually a little bit late this year, but whenever they come, it's almost like it's springtime here because the flowers are going bananas, which means my allergies suck. And then two, we get usually we get a week or two of mosquitoes before they then die and disappear again. So it's mosquito time. I went and got the spray and put that on me today. These are from yesterday. So good God, I must have a slight allergy to mosquitoes or something, because I always get the big welts and bumps and like it feels hot to the touch. It just sucks. Okay, you don't really give a shit about my mosquito bites, so let's keep going. All right, so I'm grabbing panel 1, just copy it. Oh, let's do this before we do that. This is going to be episode 2. Let me go to my notes or my script. Donuts 3, the last fritter. Here we go. Can you guys even hear the music? It's pretty quiet, but kind of missing it. Helps me. It kind of keeps me going. I'm gonna turn it up a hair if you don't mind. Oh wait, I gotta turn it up in here. Plex. There we go. All right. Let me know if that's too loud or not loud enough. I'll turn up just a notch. There we go. If it's too loud, let me know. But I like a little bit of EDM. Keeps me focused and moving. Donuts. Oh, that's a shame. We get this weird, stupid line break over here. Donuts 3. Wonder if I could try this. And I was gonna try to see if I can break that line down. Wow, that sticks out really far. Donuts 3, the last fritter. Lame. I don't have a really quick answer for this one. Hello, I'm Bello. Hello, I'm Bello, and all right, let me take all the formatting out of here and get this back to square one. Hello, I'm Bello, and this is episode 32, Donuts. Yeah, we'll go Donuts Part 3. That works a little better. Let's squeeze. Ugh. I hate when it zooms in like that. Okay, let's try that again. So I'm going to squeeze that way, and then I'm going to do that was taking out the tracking, and then I'm going to do 85% horizontal scale. There we go. That fits pretty good. I'm happy with that. Hello, I'm Bello, and this is episode 32, Donuts Part 3. No, there should be a comma. And I'm going to grab this, and I'm going to copy this to my script, because we're going to have that written as dialogue. So, and I should have done that already. Well, that's all right. Better late than never. Oops, this. And this should be a lowercase t. Much better. All right, so we got that. So let's go back. Sorry, I got sidetracked there. Let's grab our panel 1 and let's turn this into the video version, which this is kind of interesting. Oh, sorry. I'm going to scroll through here real quick and just delete all of these. These are all from the previous episode. Delete. One more. There we go. And then we'll come back and do the outro later, but Now we're gonna do the panels. So this is kind of interesting because you know, my 4-panel version, this is what it looks like. It's nice and square, big. We got all the characters in the scene. You got lots of room to play with. When you get to the video version, you have 1080 by 1920. Or if you're holding up your phone looking at it that way, it's, you know, tall and skinny. And so as you can see, I haven't adjusted anything, but like you can't even see Bubba in the shot anymore. So I need to tweak these. And the other thing too is I only do 1 line of dialogue per panel for the video. So what I'm going to do first is, and I got a few tricks up my sleeves here to make this work. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just delete that dialogue because we're only doing 1. Scrolling. My mouse always scrolls and it drives me nuts. And we're going to shrink it 90%. And that's going to give us a little bit of a wiggle room there to make it work better. So I'm going to do the same thing. Paste that in there, get rid of the dialog box, and shrink it 90%. I'm going to go through all of these. I know this is boring stuff. It's a little bit tedious and monotonous, but I'm going to go ahead and do that. Get these all put on their panel, you know, respective panels, and then we'll come back. And why do you keep doing that? So I've got the Apple Magic Mouse. This thing, I know it's you know, it's already controversial because of the form factor. Some people hate it. I've gotten used to it. I don't mind it. I kind of like it because it's light. But the top of it is basically a trackpad. So if you like, you have to kind of keep 2 fingers on it so you don't get the crazy scrolling like you just saw. And I always lift up my fingers and it drives me nuts. So anyway, if you see the screen like scrolling really fast or zooming in all of a sudden randomly, that's why. Because I don't know how to use my mouse. It drives me nuts. Anyway, so I'm going to keep going. So that was panel 2. And I'm going to go back up. I'm going to grab panel 3. I know it's just really boring stuff, but this is all part of the steps to create in Bello. And like I said, this doing all of this stuff usually takes me about 3 hours. I started at 12 streaming, 12 my time, and we're 1:15 my time, so got about 1 hour and 15 in. That sounds about right. Keep going. We're going to delete that 90%, and we'll go and grab the last panel. I just realized I forgot to do one other thing. On panel 3, if you remember, I mentioned panel 3 and 4 in my comic up above in the 4 panel. Those panels need to slide up a little bit. Well, in this version, they need to slide down a little bit. So I won't bore you with the details of why, but I don't know if you can see them right there, but I've got guidelines right there that easily tell me, okay, this isn't lined up right. Someone's going to grab everything and slide it down just a bit, and now we're good. And so I have to do that with panels 3 and 4 for this one. So this is both panels 3, and we're going to do that again. Oh wait, I need to go 90% first. There we go. Slide it down just a hair. Oh, I can delete the editor's note. Paste. I guess I'm going to have to do an extra panel because if I'm reading the editor's note, 90%. Yep, I'll put in an, you know what, we may end up getting rid of it in the final video. I don't know if it's necessary for the video version, but let's go ahead and put it in there. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that. I'm going to paste again. Yeah, I don't know how well it's even going to work with the characters in the scene and all that. Let me go ahead and put it up here. Bring it to, we'll do 3 lines, or I guess 4, because that's usually what I try to do. Editor's note. And then, oh yeah, I forgot to shrink this down, as usual. Sorry, I gotta redo this. Okay, now we're good. Let me, we're gonna go 90%. I gotta move the whole panel down. because I need them visually to line up horizontally with the ones above it. And then let's go ahead and get our editor's note. We're going to put that on 4 lines like usual. There we go. Okay, I think I might get rid of that in the video version, but we got it in there for now. I'd rather have it there, and then I can always delete it later when I'm actually putting the video together. So let's go back up to panel 1 of the video version. Not that one, because that's the intro panel. And now I'm going to go ahead and get my artwork and have it line up on the page. And this one's going to be interesting because so our focus is, basically I want to move this over because Bello and Avery are talking in this one. Let me go ahead and get him set where he should be. Why is that not snapping? There we go. Now it's snapping to point. There we go. I really want Bubba to be in the frame, so I'm going to have to do some tweaking. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go edit original. So I'm going to edit my Illustrator file. Let's get Bello moved over slightly. Whoops, I forgot to grab his arm. Now we're cooking. So I'm going to move him over slightly, and there's no way around it because, again, the vertical format is so tight to make the video version. I'm going to go ahead and bring Bubba into. I'm going to go ahead and save this. We're going to call this V1 for video. And that way, I still have my original version, which I'm using in the 4 panel. So let's go ahead and change this out. We're going to change this to the video 1 version. There we go. Back is starting to hurt. I should probably put on my back brace. That would be smart. All right, see, that lines up a lot better, and we get to see that Bubba is in the frame, even though he's not talking. We don't want him to just all of a sudden randomly pop up later and like, well, where the hell did he come from? So I think we're good there. I'm going to slide the triangle over just a little bit. And then we're basically going to repeat this process. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and grab... Oh no, we're good. Sorry. Disregard. I'm going to go ahead and grab the one from above because we're going to use the video 1 as our starting point for doing this next one. You know what? This one isn't too bad. I'm going to slide it over just a little bit. I think it makes more sense. Like whoever's talking, ideally I want them to be the center of the frame, but since we have 3 people, that doesn't work. But since Avery's the one in the middle, I do want him to be the center. Slide our voice bubbles over a little bit. That feels pretty good. And the only other thing I got to do is I'm going to do a save as and call this V2 now. Because I need Bello to get rid of the eyebrows, and I'm also going to give him a closed mouth. Since he's not talking, the focus is on Avery and his line. Hide. Come on. I can't grab his mouth for some reason. There we go. And I'll rotate that a little bit. So it makes more sense on his face. We'll bring back Avery. Okay, and then save. I always double check to make sure I did the save as thing, because I really hate having to go back and redo work. And then we're gonna grab video 2. There you go. So now the guys, they're paying attention to Avery talking. And so we're going to keep doing this all the way through. It's a bit of a pain, especially when you have... This is much easier with like a 2-person, a 2-character comic where you only have the 2. You don't have to slide around as much on the camera, to keep the other characters on screen and frame. Oh, you know what? One cool thing, though, is I can actually use... So I'm going to go ahead and grab the video I did up there and paste it in here. Let's make our lives a little easier. I can use that as my starting point. Essentially, it's, oops. Essentially, it's the same. And I'm going to slide this over a little bit. Nice. All right. And then let me grab, again, since it's, Bello and Avery talking in these 2, I'm just going to grab my art I did for the other one. as my starting point. So let's go ahead and paste that in there. Send that to back, and then let's get his. Oh, I didn't grab his box. I grabbed the art behind it. I don't know how I did that. And we're going to center his dialog box and then slide over the bubbles. Bubble, bubble, bubble. So you can see that's pretty much right on the money. So I do want to tweak it a little bit. Let's go ahead and open that. Edit original. I'm going to save this. So this is actually going to be panel 2 V1. That looks good. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go and open my where am I? Here we go. Too many folders. Good God. So much stuff. I'm going to open my original panel 2, the one from the one above, because I'm going to grab this mouth. Basically, I need to match, you know, the mouth and, come on, copy. I'm going to grab the mouth and the arm because I want him to match, you know, the 4 panel and the emotion and the way he's talking and everything. So, let's see. And when I get too many panels open here, it gets confusing. So let me make sure. So this is 2v1. Okay, this is the right one. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to delete the eyebrows. We're going to delete the mouth. And, you know, I could probably do a paste as or paste in place. No, didn't work. I'm going to have to move them around anyway, which is okay. There we go. So, again, remember the sliding scrolling thing? Does it with grabbing stuff too. All right, that looks good. Let me go ahead and save. So this is, yeah. Let me move this over so I don't get confused. No, it doesn't want it. There it goes. All right, let's save. Let me go back to InDesign and go ahead and update this panel with 2 and V1. Perfect. Hit OK. There we go. So now it matches the 4 panel one above. And then this one's actually fine. I think if anything, I'm going to move. His face is fine. His arm is fine. But I am going to go ahead and tweak Bubba. I realized his arm is up in this one. So let's go ahead and save this as panel 2v2. Perfect. And I'm going to move his arm down. There we go. Oh, there we go. We should actually, you know what, let me swap this out with the proper arm I want. Because I got one that's kind of, you know, hanging down on the side. And that's the one I really want in there. Horizontal. Again, the idea is, you know, to make things look natural. You know, as we're talking, as I'm talking and working, you're seeing my head move around. And, you know, it looks more natural, more real. All right, let's go ahead and hit save. And I'm going to swap this out. So this is going to be panel 2, video 2. Woohoo. Nice. All right, that looks good. Let's go on to the next one. And this one's going to be interesting because this is Bello and Bubba talking to each other. So really, I need to kind of get them both a little closer to each other. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to edit the original, meaning panel 3. Ooh, sorry. Tired today. Panel 3, video 1. And I am going to grab Bello, and I think I got it. No. Let's make sure I grab his arm too. Grab everything, slide him over. I'm going to get Bubba, and I'm going to slide him over too. So kind of talking behind Avery. It looks a little weird. I wish I would have thought about this when I wrote the script. Where it's usually like Avery's usually not in the middle, and because, you know, his leaves are sticking out everywhere, it's kind of hard to have him be the middle person talking. It's easier to have him off the side. Like, he's usually number 1, especially on the front counter. He'll be the number 1, Bello will be number 2, and then Bubba 3, and it makes it much easier, but I think we can make it work. Let's go ahead and just do a save. Then we're going to swap this out for, so it's going to be panel 3. how did I get? Oh, I used a different link. Let's go there. If we use that one, it goes back to the same window. So this is gonna be panel 3, video 1. Yes. See how they kind of slid in a little closer to each other? So I'm gonna go ahead and get them right about there. So everybody's kind of in the frame. Bello's talking, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and copy that and delete that. I'm gonna paste that in here. It speeds up my workflow a little bit. I know it's really boring watching me kind of move stuff around and not drawing or anything, but this is all part of the process, unfortunately. And then I'm going to move. I'm just using my arrow keys to move it slightly over so it's easier to keep in control. Like if I just grab it and move it, it's going to slide like crazy. All right, so we got that. That looks a little better. Let me go, and I'm going to do 2 things. I'm going to do a save as, and oh wait, we already have this as video 1. So let me do a save as and do this V2 before I do any changes on here, and then I can go ahead and grab, move his arm down. I'm going to grab the closed mouth. So this is the panel where Bello is talking. Come on. Sometimes it just does not want to line up. That's where your arrow keys are. Very nice. All right, that looks good. Let me go back to the characters and grab a neutral closed mouth. Oh boy, I grabbed the wrong one. Let's go ahead and revert. So this is where it gets confusing because you've got so many panels. Let me close some of these other ones. 2 and 2. Okay, let me go grab. Now what I want to grab is panel 3, V1 and V2. Okay, so this is V2. I'm going to slide that over. V1 is there. Now we're cooking. So I'm going to delete his mouth. I'm going to give him the closed mouth because he's listening while Bello's talking. I'll rotate his arm. That looks good. And let's save. And then V3 I can update. There we go. So as you can see, his mouth is closed. And then I'm going to basically do the same idea on the next one. I'm going to go ahead and copy that right there. We're going to close. And we're basically doing the same thing. So in this case, Bubba's talking. And why did that paste right there, right behind Avery? That sucks. Okay, there we go. So I'm going to give, in this one, I'm going to give Bello the closed mouth because he's listening to Bubba. Whoa. I zoomed out too far. Okay, let's go ahead and save. And now it should. We need to actually link it. We didn't link it yet, so there we go. Hey, look at that. Very nice. So, he's talking panel 3, he's talking first, and then panel 3, 2, Bubba's talking. All right, and so last but not leastly, now we've got Avery and Bubba chatting in the last one. So let's slide this over. I want to have Bello in the frame at least a little bit, so that's pretty good. Avery, we are going to put his dialogue in the center. I'm going to flip his voice bubble because directionally it makes a little more sense right there. Actually, Bubba's not too far off, but let me go ahead and we're going to edit this like we did all the other ones. I know, again, this is pretty boring stuff because it's just monotonous, really. Let's go ahead and we're going to slide him over a little bit so they're talking to each other. And I'm actually going to grab Bello too and slide him over a little bit. You know what? Not quite that much. Here we go. I think that's pretty good. Because this is where Avery and Bubba are talking to each other. I think for that too, I'm going to grab Avery's face, leafy face, whatever. Move his face down a little bit so it looks like they're talking to each other, And then I should have made sure I did the save as. I forgot, but I noticed. This is going to be V1. Okay. Oh, it's itching again. Please make it stop. Oh, So brutal. I hate mosquitoes. Those little bleepers. So that was one. Okay, I'm going to do the same kind of thing. So let's link to the correct file. All right, you know what? We're making pretty good time getting through this today. And what I can do is I can slide it over a little bit more because Bello is now off to the side. Okay, maybe just a hair too much. I'm going to slide the voice bubble over. No, I guess I gotta flip it this way a little bit. That makes a little more sense. Gets closer to the center of the... Although, yeah. There we go. I'm gonna keep it that way. It's kind of pointing towards Bubba. So that makes a little more sense. I think I might have gotten another bite. Son of a biscuit. Oh, I hate mosquitoes, those jerks. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy and paste, kind of like we did before. And put that there. Oh, looks like I didn't move this one down. We'll find out later for sure if I didn't. Line this up. Uh-oh, I gotta sneeze. Okay, held it. Why does that one look so far over? Did I miss something? No? Yeah, it's about the right spot. It just doesn't look like it's over far enough. All right, well, let's go back and we are going to... so this is one, we're going to save it as V2 for starters. Okay, hit OK. And I'm going to open up both of the V's. So panel 4 V1 and panel 4 V2. And let's get these in the right order so I don't mess something up. We'll close the old one. And so here what I'm going to do is we're going to swap out mouths. Because Bubba is not talking. Rotate. Slide that down a little bit, and I'm going to give him a different arm. You know, actually, I'd probably keep the same arm, but I'm going to bring it way down on this side. There we go. And tab that over. No, we'll leave it right there. Okay, so we got that. This is... Oh, gosh. How did I do that? Okay, revert. See, this is too many panels open. I should have been working on panel 1 doing this, and for whatever reason, I did not. I was on panel 2. This is another reason to like save as, and hopefully you catch yourself before you save over something you shouldn't have. It's really, really annoying. Okay, so then let's move his arm. Basically redoing what I just did. This is such tedious work, but I think it comes out really cool, you know? All right, and we got, his arm looks a little funky there, right there, lining up with his... There we go. I need to slide it down a little bit more. Lining up right on his apron looks kind of weird. There we go. Like the lines were almost parallel, so it looked a little weird. All right, enough messing around. Let's get that saved. Again, I will sit there and mess around with something for 5 days because I'm like, oh, it's a little better this way, and nobody ever noticed it. Like you're gonna see this on screen for a sec. How long does it take? Historically, they date back to the 17th century. That's what, 2.5 seconds, maybe 3 if you're lucky. So I'm just like, sometimes I get bogged down in the details. And then this one we are going to move to, there we go. Now he's talking with his mouth open. V2, so I guess, yeah, actually, I think we're good. Let me just move. We're going to swap this. Oh, I think we might have to move some stuff. But we're going to swap this out. And let's do this. I'm going to go and grab Mr. Bello here. I'm going to slide him over a little, just behind, scrolling thing again. Slide him right behind there, and I'm going to move Bubba over just a little bit. Let's hit save and update. And then I'm gonna slide the whole thing over a little bit. Again, I want to see Bello in there a little bit, but now it makes a little bit more sense because like the dialogue box is closer to being on top of him. Although now I have a little weird thing right here with the table, so I'm gonna slide that back over just a bit. There we go. Now it doesn't look quite as weird, and we're good. And then let's see if I'm gonna do the editors. You know what? We can. I think this actually be kind of cute. Let's. I'm gonna slide this over like that. And then we are going to put Avery in the middle. And I'm going to go ahead and edit this sucker. Edit original. And this will be our V3. So save. I'm going to get rid of that. Get rid of that. I am going to grab closed mouth. Or actually, let me grab... his arm just kind of straight down, paste, flip it. I wonder if my dog ever thinks I'm freaking nuts because she thinks I'm talking to myself instead of you guys. Although I'm kind of talking to myself. I think we got like one person watching right now, so don't be shy about jumping in the chat and saying hello, please. I need some help keeping my sanity. All right, what I'm gonna do is what I'm doing here is I'm rotating the guys in so they're almost kind of like paying attention to me as I'm talking for the editor's notes. All right, let's save and then update this with. I probably gotta bring them in way more, but let's see how it looks. And there we go. You know what? I don't know. I may get rid of that entirely. It just seems kind of funky. Because it's not, the voice is not attached to anybody. I wonder if I do, this might look weird. I'll probably end up not liking it, but let me go grab some voice bubbles. I could do it from, flip the voice bubbles and have them coming in from the top. Okay, this might actually work. Okay, come on. All right, we're scrapping the whole editor's note thing. That'll be exclusively for the 4-panel. Let's delete. It was kind of a cute idea, but I don't think it's gonna work. And now I need an outro. I didn't actually write the outro yet. So let's go back to our script. You know what? Let me see what Claude has to say. Sometimes he comes up with good stuff. Any ideas? Any ideas for... Great, he can't type. Any idea for this? And he knows what it's about, so he'll write some. And if I don't like him, I won't use him. I might like part of what he writes and tweak it. And but let's see what he's got. And he'll give me like, 10, 12, something like that. So I have options. What's your most underrated donut variety that deserves more love? That's pretty darn good. Apple fritters, donut, or just fried dough? Settle this debate. What pastry always gets left in the box, but shouldn't? That's pretty good. What's your go-to? Team Apple Fritter or Team Dutchie? Which underrated variety wins? Well, we don't really know if Dutchie's underrated because I haven't even had one yet, so it doesn't really work. What donut variety do people sleep on that's actually amazing? Okay, that's not bad. What are raisins and donuts? A game changer or a deal breaker? Hot take. Raisins belong in more pastries. Agree or disagree? All right, I kind of like that. That one's kind of fun. All right, so let's use that one. Hot take, raisins. Okay. All right, I can close out of here. Let's close out our panels I don't need. We're gonna just hide that app. Hot take. All right, let's see if we can get our dialogue box lined up a little better. I got a feeling no, but let's get this one spaced out 90. I'm just kind of undoing the previous tracking and kerning and everything. Slide this over to the center. Hot take. Let me zoom in a hair here. There we go. Uh-oh, I got to sneeze. Oh, ah! I hate when you're gonna sneeze and then you can't. It's like the worst. It really is. Okay, I think we're good. So now we're gonna go ahead and export all of our PNGs to bring into the video app. What's up, buddy? Aw, you're so tired today. Are you not feeling good? Poor little buddy. I know. Well, I still got a little ways to go, and then I'm going to get off here, okay? And we can do the afternoon WALK, okay? She gets two WALKs during the day, one in the morning, and then one in the early afternoon around 3ish. So she's ready to go way before 3 though. Okay, let me hide that. We're done with that. Next up, let's do some. Oh my God. Itchy those allergies. Sorry. You know what? I know it doesn't necessarily help allergies, but I'm gonna grab another cough drop. All right. Now I'm gonna turn down the music, or just pause it. Let's just pause that for now. Now we're going to do some dialogue. I'm going to use my script. I'm going to copy and paste. For this, I use another AI. It's called Hume, and I've gotten really good results with it. You can set up your characters, save your characters, and it's basically text to speech. So I'm going to go ahead and copy my text. Or actually, let's start. I always start with the intro and outro. We are going to change our actor. In this case, I'm going to go to My Voices and grab Bello. Paste my text in there. There is an advanced option where you can auto-generate the acting instructions. It reads your sentence, with your dialogue you paste in there, and then bases the acting instructions off of that. Most of the time it's right. Sometimes you got to fiddle with it. And then you just hit the generate button. So let's see what we get.
Hello, I'm Bello, and this is episode 32, Donuts Part 3, The Last Fritter.
All right, that's not bad. Let me hear it one more time. I think you kind of rushed through the beginning of it.
Hello, I'm Bello, and this is episode 32, Donuts Part 3, The Last Fritter.
I don't like the way he said Bello and those are like really close together. So the way he said it. So I'm going to add a comma. I know grammatically that doesn't make any sense, but basically, you got to trick our AI buddy into giving you what you want. So then I just hit generate.
Hello, I'm Bello, and this is episode 32, Donuts Part 3, The Last Fritter.
Nice. Okay. Very smooth, natural sounding. And let me go back here. Here's my file I downloaded. And I've got like a whole naming scheme to keep things organized. So this is going to be 0.1 intro. Basically, if it's got a 0 before it, it means it doesn't attach to any panels, out of the 4 panels. And because you'll see it once I move all my audio files in there too. But I have so many files because of exporting the PNGs and all that stuff, and then the AI files and everything, the Illustrator files, that it's easy to get lost and miss something. So I purposefully do the crazy naming scheme so it's easy to organize and find stuff. So next one, we're going to go ahead and just copy paste. Let me do the outro first. Sorry. I usually like doing the intro outro first, and then I come back and do all the dialogue. And then we'll just I like hitting auto generate anytime I paste new text in there. Sometimes it just helps the AI. So we'll hit generate.
Hot take, raisins belong in more pastries. Agree or disagree?
Not bad. I wish he kind of emphasized hot take a little bit more. Like, hot take, pay attention. So I'm going to capitalize take. Sometimes that does the trick. Again, you got to trick AI to get it to do what you want. So it doesn't always understand.
Hot take? Raisins belong in more pastries. Agree or disagree?
That's not bad. He's more like asking the question, is this a hot take? Let me play it one more time.
Hot take? Raisins belong in more pastries. Agree or disagree?
You know what I'm going to do, instead of the colon there, I'm going to do triple dots. Let's see if that helps the timing a little bit. And I'm going to auto-generate one more time. These are just little tricks I do to try to get AI to do what I want. Oh, God, I'm itching again.
Hot take? Raisins belong in more pastries. Agree or disagree?
All right, that's not bad. Let me play it one more time. I think we're good on that one.
Hot take? Raisins belong in more pastries. Agree or disagree?
Okay, I like it. And honestly, I agree. I grew up eating, I don't even know what you call them over here, but it's almost like a cinnamon roll, less cinnamon, but it has raisins in there. There's a German deli place around here that actually has them once in a while, and they call them California rolls. I don't know why, if that was kind of like the national name for these things. But they're really freaking good. And the key with the raisins is you got to soak them. You can soak them in like apple juice or just water. And that way they get a little more plump, and they're almost like a fruit again. And they're really good. So, I mean, if you just chucked in, your dried shriveled up raisins in there, they wouldn't be very good. But with these, it's really, really good. So I agree. We should have more raisins. As long as they're hydrated. You got to hydrate those fuckers first, or it's not good. And sorry about the F word there. I'm trying to keep this more PG-13. Okay, that's our intro, outro. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do all of Bello's lines. If you were doing this the first time and you're not used to doing this, you'd probably go, you do Bello's line, then you'd switch it out. You do Avery's. This speeds up my working process a little bit, doing all the lines at once for each character. I kind of know what I'm expecting. And let's auto-generate. The voice expresses craving, gluttonous desire. No, because that sounds like he's fired up. He's more just sad and degenerated. Craving expresses craving and sadness. Let's see. Sometimes you gotta tell it what to do because it's not getting what you're getting at. And generate.
I still want more donuts.
All right, I'm gonna save that one because it's just kind of in the middle. So if we don't get anything else we want, let's just generate a few more.
I still want more donuts.
Okay, that's much better. Let me chuck that other one right away. That's pretty good. I think I want more sadness, but I kind of like he's got a little bit of anger in there, which I like better. So let's generate a couple more.
I still want more donuts.
No, boring.
I still want more donuts.
Kind of not bad. He's almost like he's kind of clenching his teeth while he's talking. Almost.
I still want more donuts.
Yeah.
I still want more donuts.
Okay, I kind of like that one too. We'll see between those two. I think this was the first one. Let's see.
I still want more donuts. I still want more donuts.
Wow, they're actually almost the same. I think this one has a little bit more inflection.
I still want more donuts.
Yeah, and like in the beginning of that, he punctuates the syllables a little bit better. So we're gonna go with that. Rename this. This is gonna be panel 1 and dialogue 1. So 1.1, and this is Bello. On to his next. I'm gonna slide this over a little bit, and you know what? Here, let me make sure I'm not covering it up with my face on the screen. I'm going to slide this over so I can just click back and forth much easier. Let's copy, paste, auto-generate. I take an apple fritter. I take that apple fritter no one wants, always last in the box. It expresses longing and a little sad. Okay, yeah, that's pretty good.
I'd even take that apple fritter no one wants. Always last in the box.
Okay, I'm going with it. That was really good. He kind of hit all the right notes and tones that I wanted. We could play with it a little bit more, but I think it came out really good. And once we get this into the video and matched up with the the visual and the other characters' voices. If we need to, we'll just come back and make more. It's really easy. All right, panel 3. This is another Bello. Gosh, he's actually the one talking the most in this. Let's auto. I always auto generate when it's a new line of text, just because I think it works better.
They are kind of weird, though, right? Are they even a donut?
Not bad. Middle of the road. Let me save it. I always like saving like the one that's kind of like, okay, that's what I expected, and it's just okay. And then I generate some more.
They are kind of weird, though, right? Are they even a donut?
Ooh, much better. He kind of says donut a little weird, like a donut, but I think it's the inflection is so much better that I want to go with it. Let's see. Let me make sure I get the right one.
They are kind of weird, though, right? Are they even a donut?
All right, and then
They are kind of weird, though, right? Are they even a donut?
Yeah, okay. He says donut a little weird, but I don't care because the way he does the line is really good. So this is going to be 3.1 Bello. Let's chuck the other one we don't need. And that's all of Bello. So next we're going to get Avery. So I'm going to change my actor, my voices, Avery, paste, auto-generate the acting, and
Bello, we finished those 2 days ago.
that's pretty good. I actually like that. It's kind of what I expected. Rosa, what's going on? You're in the middle of watching me make my comic. Right now, I'm working on the voiceovers for the video version.
Rosa Adams says hello.
Hey, look at that. My text-to-speech is working too. Hello. Thank you for chiming in. So this is going to be visually a little boring, what you're seeing on the screen. But I'm doing all the characters' voices, and I use AI to do that. So this line is it's Avery's line. It's, if you follow the comic, it's the plant's line, and he says, "Bello, we finished those 2 days ago," and he's talking about the box of donuts they had. And so I did
Rosa Adams says, I am a small fan of your comic.
Yay! That's awesome. I'm so happy. Thank you so much. Thank you. That's fantastic. We'll keep reading. So I'm working. So then you know how this all works. I'm working on the dialogue, and so I did one for Avery that I think is probably going to be good.
Bello, we finished those 2 days ago.
But I always like to generate a couple more just to see, because it's it's AI making this stuff up. So sometimes it does this weird stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and generate, and then we'll keep going. We got a few more lines we got to do.
Bello, we finished those 2 days ago.
That's not bad. I like the other one. It's got a thank you for the hearts. The other one's got a little bit more oomph to it. Let's try generating one more time.
Bello, we finished those 2 days ago.
Yeah, that's not bad either. I think probably one is the right way to go. Ooh, before I get too sidetracked, do you have a favorite donut? We're kind of doing like a mini poll over here. So I want to get everybody's donut choices on there. There's and there's no wrong answer. So let me know as we're working, and we'll put you on the board. And let's see. This is Avery's line. So this is going to be panel 1, line 2, and Avery. And then we'll go to, here's Avery's line in panel 2. I'm going to auto-generate this. So if this thing, you can generate the acting of, what the character, what the actor is supposed to do, or what you want them to sound like. Usually you can auto-generate, and it does a pretty good job. Once in a while, we have to tweak it. But so I do that first for any new line, and then I hit generate to see what they say.
Actually, apple fritters have a fascinating history.
Tone-wise, it's okay, but he kind of said fascinating weird, so we'll generate again.
Actually, apple fritters have a fascinating history.
That's not bad. It's got kind of a weird tone. Let me auto-generate and see if we get something a little different.
Actually, apple fritters have a fascinating history.
He's pausing too hard on the actually part, so I'm going to delete the comma. I know grammatically it doesn't make any sense, but I'm tricking the AI to basically do what I want.
Actually, apple fritters have a fascinating history.
Hey, that did the trick. It's not a long, big line, so there isn't a ton of inflection, but I like that,
Rosa Adams says, what app do you use for voiceovers?
Great question. I use Hume, Hume, or it's a website. I made an app from Chrome, so that's why it looks like it's an app, but it's you can get it on the website, um, and it works really well. I can't remember what the name of the other one is. Um, Darn it! But I tried another one, and I think that the acting was actually a tiny bit better than this one. But the audio sounded weird. Like this one, it actually sounds like the actor is talking into a microphone. And the other one I tried, it was like the sound sounded completely different from one actor to reverb and stuff. And then the next actor would sound like they're talking into a microphone. I need them all to sound the same. So anyway, that's one of the reasons I ended up going with this one. But yeah, it's called Hume. I pay, I don't know, $15 a month, and that's enough credits for me to do everything I need to. And you can save your voices that you want. Like I have all of my characters' voices saved, so it's easy to pull them back up. And yeah, it's really cool. If you got any other questions about it or thinking about using it, let me know, and more than happy to give you any other feedback you need. All right, so that was line 2 for Avery. And then we're going to skip ahead here and go to Avery in panel 4. I always do all my characters' lines, even though it's out of order, all in one go. It helps me kind of speed up the process. And then this is another Avery being a smartass or too smart for his own good, wanting to throw out some
Historically,
history.
they date back to the 17th century.
All right, that's not bad. I'm going to go ahead and generate another one just to see.
Historically, they date back to the 17th century.
That one sounded almost like he stumbled on historically, like he almost sounded like he said systorically.
Historically, they date back to the 17th century.
Okay, apparently he can't say historically right now.
Historically, they date back to the 17th century.
That's not bad. All right, let's download that one. Avery's lines are pretty straightforward in this one. Let me see between 1 and 2, which one we like better. You chime in if you don't mind.
Historically, they date back to the 17th century. Historically, they date back to the 17th century.
I think 2, because in line 1 he still had a kind of hard time saying historically, like it was almost like historically. So I'm thinking we go with 2. And this is panel 4.1 Avery. I named these so I kind of know what line goes where. And then we got Bubba. I think we've got 2 lines for him. So we're almost done. We're almost at the video part, which is visually a heck of a lot more exciting. So we're going to paste in our text, auto-generate the acting, and generate.
Like someone gave up making apple pie and just threw everything in the
Rosa
fryer.
Adams says your character sounds like Jude Law. Is he meant to sound like that?
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, you know what? He does sound... I didn't purposefully do it, but after I created the voice, like when you're creating your voices with this app, you kind of tell it, like, I want this to be a British person. They're kind of, dry sense of humor, but very smart. I think those were some of my prompts. I don't remember exactly what it was. And this is what I came up with. And it does sound a little bit like Jude. That's really funny you say that, because I noticed that too. And I forgot to change my voice here for acting. That's funny. Good catch. Really good catch. Okay, now I fixed it. Now we're using Bubba. Let's try that one more time.
Like someone gave up making apple pie and just threw everything in the fryer.
Okay, he's supposed to be... I can see why. Okay, the acting, it gave it disgusted, revolted, and appalled. I kind of want him to be joking, though, So let's try auto-generating the acting a little bit. It's still... Well, here we go. The voice expresses humor, disgust, and disappointment. Let's change this. So let's do it. Expresses humor, disgust, and then add dark humor. We're saying humor twice, but maybe that helps. And we'll generate.
Like someone gave up making apple pie and just threw everything in the fryer.
He went a little fast, but that was better. Let's try again.
Like someone gave up making apple pie and just threw everything in the fryer.
There we go. That's better. I like that one. Let's go with that. Otherwise, I could sit here and do this for like an hour for each and every line, but that's the perfectionist in me coming out and wanting everything to be perfect. And the reality is, it's just you can't do it. There's not enough hours in the day. All right, we got one more line, and we'll start putting the video together. Oh yeah, did you think of of your favorite donut? Do you have one? Do you like donuts? Mine was, so we don't have that many. I've only had a few people chime in so far, but mine was the Homer donut, which is basically the strawberry glaze and sprinkles. And then somebody else came in with red velvet, which was a great call. I didn't even think about that one. It's kind of a specialty donut. Hey, Nerd of Gold, welcome. Hope you're enjoying. Working on building the comic strip right now, and we're doing voiceover work with my AI buddy called Hume. All right, so let's see. Oh, and then yeah, Nerd, if you let me know if you got a favorite donut you want me to add to the poll. So I was just saying we have the Homer and we've got red velvet so far. Where was I? All right, let's go ahead and just generate and see what we can.
Enough history, Avery. Y'all ever try a Dutchie? Them raisins are a game changer.
All right, not bad. It's kind of monotone. I'm going to add triple dots in there. I might have to do this one as 2 parts. Sometimes that works better. But let's add that in there. I'm going to redo the acting. Voice should be happy, casual, and inviting.
Enough history, Avery. Y'all ever try a Dutchie? Them raisins are a game changer.
Ooh, all right. I think we nailed it. Let me go ahead and save that one. I'm pretty sure that's it because that kind of hits the notes. The beginning of the sentence is a little bit more down. You know, like enough history, Avery. Cut it out. And then he gets more excited when he's talking about the Dutchie. So,
Rosa Adams says Boston cream donuts, pumpkin spice, plain jelly-filled donuts.
Those are all good. All right, let's go with. I'm going to stick on their Boston cream. Those are all good, but you said Boston cream first, and I love some Boston cream too. So let's get that on there. And jelly filled are good too, though. Yeah, have you ever seen a place that does like a cream and jelly? That seems like it would be ideal. Like you could do like a strawberry shortcake donut. Holy crap, that would be good with the cream and the like strawberry jam or whatever the heck they use inside there. That would be good. All right, we've got our dialogue. I did my intro, outro. I think we got them all. All right, so I'm going to move these back to my folder with all my files. And you can see now, like all these files are for one comic, for one video version of the comic. And that's why I do like the naming scheme for the dialogue, because otherwise it's so easy to get lost. Really easy. So with that said, I'm going to move this over to my other screen. So I'm sorry you won't see my files, but I'm going to do this so I can much easier drag and drop stuff into the video app. So let me hide some stuff here. We're going to hide that app. I'm going to hide my script. And we're going to go ahead and open Adobe Premiere. This is where I put the video together. And let me get so we're using my file that I did for yesterday. And we're going to tweak that and move stuff around in there. It just makes my workflow a little easier. This is my outro. That stays the same. So I'm going to slide that over. I'm going to go ahead and delete that. I'm going to delete all my images. Those are
Rosa Adams says donut holes are the best whenever you're on the go or want to sneak something to eat while at work.
They are fantastic. Okay, I got to turn this down a notch. That almost scared me. The voiceover was so loud. Donut holes are awesome. I absolutely love donut holes. The problem is, with donut, you can kind of gauge how many of them you eat. With donut holes, the bag is gone before you know what happened. That definitely has happened to me more than once. But yeah, they're really good. So I'm deleting all my dialogue and everything. This is our intro. What you see left here, this first part is a sound effect. That lets you know, that's the beep that lets you know, okay, we're starting the show. And then this track right here, this middle one, is actually my, it's like an atmosphere effect. So being inside the deli, if you were in there, you'd probably hear, humming of the fridge, and you might hear traffic going by the outside the building and stuff like that. So that's what that is. So I always leave that there. This first one at the very beginning, that's the intro music. So I'm just going to start copying stuff over, like I was saying. And you won't see it on my files because they're on the other screen, but I'll just go ahead and drop stuff in. So that's the intro, outro. Let me get those situated. Let me zoom in a little bit here. I think I'm going to have to move my sound effects and stuff over a little bit because, oh wait, let's not do it that way. I want to move this down here. Do you see how long that is for the intro? Usually my my intro cuts off much sooner than that. And all right, I'm going to go ahead and play it. I know we don't have anything on the screen visually, but we're going to just listen to it.
Hello, I'm Bello.
Oh, duh. Let me get that on the correct line so it sounds proper.
And this is...
No, still in there we go. You got to put it on the right, because like all these pretty much all these different lines are all these tracks have different sound effects on them, so I got to make sure I get it on the right line, or it's going to sound weird with like echo and stuff.
Hello, I'm Bello, and this is episode 32, Donuts Part 3, The Last Fritter.
Okay, that sounds good. All right, so then let's go ahead, and I'm going to bring in we'll go ahead and bring in the art for the intro at least. And then we'll see. So now it all ties in. So, you've got the dialogue box on the screen, and then you hear the audio of it too.
Hello, I'm Bello, and this is episode 32, Donuts Part 3, The Last Fritter.
All right, cool. And then just so you know too, I'm not going to put all the imagery in there for yet, because I'm going to listen to it first. I want to make sure their dialogue lines up right, and there's not too much space. So like one person says one thing and then they stop for like 5 seconds with a weird pause. It would sound weird. And a way to help me kind of combat that and make sure I don't have any weird stuff in there is just to listen to it. Just with your ear instead of both visual and audio. Let's see, so we're starting with Bello. This is going to be a little boring. I'm basically just going to be dragging and dropping stuff on the tracks. So it's visually, it's not very exciting, but it'll come together. We'll hit the play button in just a minute. Then Avery is the next to speak. 2-1 is Bello again. And we'll slide these around a little bit and stuff. It'll make more sense in a minute when I hit the play button. I'm just kind of visually putting them there where I think they should go, just based on how I haven't done this in the past. So that was 2-1. This is 2-2 Avery. Let's get his line right about there. And then we've got 3-1. That's Bello again. So we'll go there. And then what's next? 3-2 is Avery. I thought I had a Bubba line in here. I think I might have messed up. Let's double check. I did. So 3-2 should be Bubba. Too many moving pieces. All right, let's try that again. Bubba. All right, so Bubba he's actually this last track down here. Oh, hang on one sec. Let me let the puppy out. She wants to go. Come here. Hey, you got to say hi. Come here, cutie pie. Say hello, Harley. Look right there. Oh, we got to go the right way. There's Harley. Mwah. You little cutie pie. Okay. Go ahead. Go see mommy. She got bored with me. She has to go see mommy. She's such a fun puppy, though. It's been a little moody the last couple days. I don't know, maybe she doesn't feel quite right. Her tummy wasn't feeling good yesterday. She actually, she had a little bit of upchuck going on. Let's see, Avery. Oops. And we got Avery, and then the final line is Bubba. All right, now that we got all those in there. So again, the what I'm trying to do now is just listen to make sure it sounds like a natural conversation, that things line up. So
I still want more donuts.
Bello, we finished those 2 days ago.
I'd even take that apple fritter no one wants. Always last in the box.
Actually, apple fritters have a fascinating history.
They are kind of weird though, right? Are they even a donut?
Like someone gave up making apple pie and just threw everything in the fryer.
Historically, they date back to the 17th century.
Enough history, Avery.
okay, we're actually these are all doing really good as far as spacing. Let me zoom in on this one a little bit. This one seemed like it was just a little too long, and then this one we'll slide this over too. All right, let's go back just a hair. I'll zoom out a little bit.
Gave up making apple pie and just threw everything in the fryer.
Historically, they date back to the 17th century.
Enough history, Avery. Y'all ever try a Dutchie? Them raisins are a game changer.
All right, that actually sounds like it's lining up pretty good. I think Bubba should come in a little faster. So let me slide him over just a hair. All right, we'll play it from here.
Historically, they date back to the 17th century.
Enough history, Avery. Y'all ever try a Dutchie? Them raisins are a game changer.
All right, I think that sounds pretty good. Let's go and we'll get the end here lined up. And then I have a little outro tone, which, it's the basically the microwave being done. It tells you it's the end of the episode.
Game changer.
Oh, you know what? I must have tweaked that when I was sliding stuff around. There we go. Now it's working. Let's give it a half a second more after Bubba finishes line. All right. I think that was really fast. We did a good job with that. Sometimes it takes me a little longer to get stuff lined up. So with that said, let's attach the visual portion of it. And I'm just going to drop those there, and then we're going to adjust them to kind of fit as we need to. So what is that line? Oh, that's my outro. Okay, duh. Go ahead, and I'm going to get my outro set. That looks pretty good. Slide this over. So basically, this is just making sure everything lines up with the dialogue. Let's zoom in here so I can kind of see. There we go. And one weird thing, this is kind of neat though, is that you have to offset the dialogue from the visual. It's really weird. I don't remember where I learned this trick. It was an artist friend, I think. But I'll play it for you here. So it's such a weird thing. I don't know if I might have already told you this in a previous stream, but watch the transition between this next line going from Avery to Bello. And right now I have the art and the audio on the same cut. They come at you at the same time. And it's really jolting. It kind of almost takes you out of it. What just happened? But if you offset those a little bit, all of a sudden it doesn't do that. So let me zoom in a little bit here and you'll see what I mean. So I'm going to go back just a hair. So check this out in the next transition.
We finished those 2 days ago.
I'd even take that out.
See how quick that was? They almost don't look like they match up. So if you just take your imagery and I'm going to slide it over just a millisecond, that much, and check it out. We'll do it again and see how much smoother, more natural. You don't really notice the cut.
We finished those 2 days ago.
I'd even take that apple fritter no one.
It's a subtle thing, but it makes a big difference. It's such a weird thing. I always like sharing that one because it's such a neat thing, such a neat little trick. It's such a minor thing. So if you're ever doing video editing or stuff like that, it's probably more for animation and things like this, but it's just a really interesting little factoid, neat little trick. So I'm lining these up with the dialogue, and then I'm kicking them over just a hair, so they don't match exactly, so we don't get that weird, hard cut thing. There we go. I'm gonna slide this one over. Again, just boop, pop it over a little bit. It's one nice thing about this app. If you've ever used Premiere, everything always wants to line up with the next thing. I mean, you can turn it off, but it's a really nice way to make sure like audio and video and things match up, and even scene to scene. Like if they're butt to butt, you're not going to get like all this. If they were apart, you're going to get like a black space pop up, and it's like, what just happened? So let me go ahead, and we're going to get the last thing is get the outro in here. So I've got two parts to the outro. One is the outro that's specific to the episode, and then I got this part, which is just a placed video. That is the continue, the same outro that always happens. It says like, like, share, and all that fun stuff. But anyway, I think we're pretty good. So let's take a look at the whole thing together. I'm going to we'll probably watch it a few times. One thing I'm also looking for is making sure the visual and the dialogue match up exactly. So you don't have like, what it says on screen matches what you're hearing. Sometimes I forget to update the script and we get some weird little thing happening. So, but let's go ahead and hit play.
Hello, I'm Bello, and this is episode 32, Donuts Part 3, The Last Fritter. I still want more donuts.
Bello, we finished those 2 days ago.
I'd even
Thank
take
you.
that apple
I
fritter
appreciate
no
that.
one wants.
Yay!
Always last in the box.
Actually,
That's
apple
really
fritters
nice
have
of
a
you. Thank
fascinating
you.
history.
They are kind of weird though, right? Are they even a donut?
Like someone gave up making
Uh-oh.
apple pie and
Doggy's
just
barking.
threw everything
Something
in the
happened.
fryer.
Historically,
Thank you for the
they
rose
date back to
hydra.
the 17th
That's awesome.
century.
Enough history, Avery.
How are you today?
Y'all ever try a Dutchie? Them raisins are a game changer.
All right, let
Hot
me go.
take, raisins.
Hydra says in good.
Yay! I'm glad to hear it. It's Monday, so it's kind of one of those things where, yeah, it's Monday. I mean, I'm good overall, but it's still Monday. I don't know what it is. I guess I was, Garfield in a former life or something. He hates Mondays. But we're on the last stage of building the comic for today. We're working on the video version. I've already got the 4-panel and all that stuff done. So we'll be posting pretty soon. Oh, while we're at it, what's your favorite donut? Where is it? I've got it kind of hidden here. We're doing an informal poll here. So far, we've got the Homer donut, which is like strawberry icing with sprinkles on top. We got a red velvet and we got a Boston cream pie.
Hydra says chocolate.
Yeah, I knew it. Somehow I knew it. We had to have a chocolate person. I love chocolate donuts too. You just can't go wrong. All the other stuff is fun, but there's like classics you can't get away from. All right, we got chocolate on there. Thank you. T13, what's going on? If you want to chime in with
Hydra says or powdered.
Ooh, okay. Let's give powdered an honorary listing. Powdered are good too. Although they get a little dry, you know what I mean? Powdered. Is that how you spell? That's powdered. Yeah, okay. Somehow that looked weird to me. T13, if you want to chime in with your favorite donut, or we can just add a check mark next to one of these if one of those is your favorite, let me know. All right. So let's go back. So I'm going through here one more time. We've got everything lined up, the audio, everything else. But I want to double check to make sure everything lines up and matches. So like the dialogue that's on the screen, I want to make sure it matches the audio. So if you were reading along, there's no hiccups. Like sometimes I forget to offset or update my script when I made little changes to the dialogue. Thank you for the heart. So let's just have a look. And like I said, the main thing here I'm looking for is making sure the dialogue and the screen match up.
Hello, I'm Bello, and this is episode 32, Donuts Part 3, The Last Fritter. I still
Does it sound like he says donuts with an S or just donut?
Hello, I'm Bello, and this is episode 32, Donuts Part 3, The Last Fritter.
I think I kind of hear the S in there, but it's really subtle. So I'm kind of thinking maybe we change it to donut.
Hydra says donut.
Okay, I'm not going crazy. Thank you for confirming. So let's go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and update. It's not a big deal. It doesn't, hurt anything, but I can easily update the artwork to make sure it matches. It's a little subtle thing. It's not the end of the world. But if you're reading along while you're listening and you hear that, you're like, wait, why does it say donuts on the screen, but I'm hearing donut? So thank you for confirming. So I'm going to update it there, and then I'm going to export all my panels again, making picture files that we placed into Adobe Premiere. And the nice thing is it's an easy fix because it'll just auto update. Go ahead and hit yes. And then we hit save. And then if we go back, now it says donut. Woohoo! All right, we'll continue on and make sure everything lines up.
Episode 32, Donuts Part 3, The
Nice.
Last Fritter.
Much better.
I still want more donuts.
Bello, we finished those 2 days ago.
I'd even take that apple fritter no one wants.
Does he say tit? It sounds like tit. Damn it. All right, let me go back.
Ago.
I'd even take that apple
Hydra
fritter.
says yep.
Yeah, okay. Damn it. All right. Let's go redo his line. This one's a little bit more of a pain in the butt, but it's not the end of the world. Damn, I really like the acting he did in that too. Like the inflections and enunciation was really good and sounded natural. But we want it to be right and not sound like tit. That's just awkward. Yeah, it's one of those things like it's a tiny little thing, but it takes you completely out the story. And then, did I just hear tit? He said tit, and then you don't care about the story anymore. So, all right, let me change my actor here in my voiceover program. We're gonna go with Bello, and I'm gonna paste his line in here. I'm gonna hit auto generate for the acting. We might tweak that a little bit, and then just generate, and it'll make the line for us. And we might try a few.
I'd even take that apple fritter no one wants. Always last in the box.
All right, that's not terrible. I'm going to go ahead and save that one, and then we'll play with a few. I like that he changes his tone a little bit on the second half of the sentence. Makes it feel more natural. But let's try a few more. I might change the acting instructions, and let's just see what we get.
I'd even take that apple fritter no one wants. Always last in the box.
All right, his tone sounds a little off, and he's really rushing through the line. I want him to pause a little bit more. So I'd even take that apple fritter no one wants. Always, I'm going to go triple dot instead of comma. Sometimes these are little things that trick the AI to just acting it a little bit differently. I'd even take that apple fritter no one. Let's try capitalizing one too. These are all little tricks I learned to kind of trick the AI into doing more of what I want.
I'd even take that apple fritter no one wants. Always last in the box.
Hey, that's not bad. All right, let's go ahead and save that one. And this time around, I'm going to update the acting instructions. Voice expresses humorous, self-deprecating, and slightly sad acceptance. Okay, that's kind of along the lines of what I was thinking. So let's see what we get.
I'd even take that apple fritter no one wants. Always last in the box.
Yeah, that sounds a little bit more angry than sad. Let's try again. Ooh,
I'd
thank
even
you.
take that apple fritter no one wants. Always last in the box.
Thank you. That was very nice of you. I appreciate it. Okay, that one was about the same. We'll keep going.
I'd even take that apple fritter no one wants. Always last in the box.
Yeah, okay. I think the acting instructions aren't that good for this one. Let's try again. Voice expresses sad longing and disappointed resignation. Okay, that sounds pretty depressed, but this could work.
I'd even take that apple fritter no one wants. Always last in the box.
Not bad. He was a little weird on one. It might be because I capitalized it. Let's try a couple more. And I'm being a little picky here because I think it's a really good line. So I really want him to kind of nail it because I think this is Avery's kind of like just always wanting to spit out his knowledge, but this one just kind of hits the tone for the rest of it because he's really sad that he doesn't have any more donuts, and I am too because I want donuts.
I'd even take that apple fritter no one wants. Always lost in the box.
Okay, that's pretty dark, but that might work. All right, let's take a look. Let me go. Here's all of our files. Let's listen to those three.
I'd even take that apple fritter no one wants. Always lost in the box.
That's pretty darn good. Let me stop. What line was that? I'd take. Okay, this is 2-1. Let me go ahead. We're going to save that one no matter what. We might try a couple different versions. Bello. And then let's check out the other ones again.
I'd even take that apple fritter no one wants. Always last in the box.
I like that. The first part isn't very exciting, but the second part, he really kind of goes down, which is nice. It's good acting.
I'd even take that apple fritter no one wants. Always last in the box.
Okay, that one just, I'm not with it. So let's try these two. I got a feeling the first one may be good, but the second one too could be really good. Let's call this one Bello V2, and then that way we can try both. I'm going to bring these in here into my folder with all my files. If it'll go, yep, there it goes. Okay, I'm gonna bring this over here so I can just drag and drop from my other screen that you guys can't see. Let me hide this. We're gonna hide this. There we go. And let's bring in. You know what? I gotta chop. There was a little bit too much space in the pause for the second part of the line, so I'm gonna go ahead and chop that. I'm going to bring that up here to replace the old one. And I'm going to slide this over just a hair. And it doesn't want to because it's snapping right to the point. There we go. All right, let's see how that comes out. All right, we'll go back a little bit.
Bello, we finished those 2 days ago.
I'd even take that apple fritter no one wants. Always last in the box.
Actually, apple fritters have a fascinating history.
That's good.
They are kind of weird.
All right, I'm going to go back to the beginning because I want to hear everything. And again, we're reading along and making sure the words match good and sound correct. That last one was a doozy. I don't need Bello saying tit when we're talking about donuts.
So, right? Are they even a donut?
Let me go back here. So we'll start at the beginning and just, read along with me if you don't mind, and listen to the words and make sure you're happy with what you see and what you hear match exactly.
I still want more donuts.
Bello, we finished those 2 days ago.
I'd even take that apple fritter no one wants. Always last in the box.
Actually, apple fritters have a fascinating history.
They are kind of weird though, right? Are they even a donut?
Like someone gave up making apple pie and just threw everything in the fryer.
Historically, they date back to the 17th century.
Enough history, Avery. Y'all ever try a Dutchie? Them raisins are a game changer.
Hot take, raisins belong in more pastries. Agree or disagree?
Please support us by liking and sharing.
Okay, I know the rest of it is good. I've seen that about a bazillion times. Let me double
Hot
check.
take, raisins belong in more pastries. Agree or disagree?
Please.
Okay, you know what? I think we're pretty good. Unless anybody has any objections or saw something that I missed. You know what? Let's go ahead and export, and then we'll watch it one more time. Sometimes just looking at it again with a fresh view, something sticks out, and you're like, oh, wait, we got to change that or fix that. But everything felt pretty good. Like the audio levels for each character were pretty good. Like nobody's kind of like louder than the other in a weird way. I mean, you're always going to fluctuate up and down a little bit, but it felt pretty good. So I'm going to paste my name in there. I'm going to hit export. And let's just see what we get, because I think we're there. All right. You know what? We're not doing too bad. These usually take me about 3 hours, and we got through it in about 2.5 so far, short of us having to make any tweaks or changes, but we're looking pretty good. Not too bad at all. Is it Fig Luther? What's going on? You just jumped in at the very end. We are finishing up making today's comics. Let me go ahead and we're gonna hide this, and we'll go ahead. Oh, if you want to chime in, I'm doing kind of an impromptu poll with what everybody's favorite donut is. So if you have a favorite, I'm gonna move all my stuff back here so we can see my files and all that good stuff. I had everything over here in this window that you can't see because I was working on my video, and it's easier to drag and drop back and forth. But anyway, we are good to go. Let me play the comic for you. You just jumped in, so you haven't seen the rest of the stuff, I don't think. Open. There it is. All right. So this is today's comic, but the video version.
Hello, I'm Bello, and this is episode 32, Donuts Part 3, The Last Fritter. I still want more donuts.
Bello, we finished those 2 days ago.
I'd even take that apple fritter no one wants. Always lost in the box.
Actually, apple fritters have a fascinating history.
They are kind of weird though, right? Are they even a donut?
Like someone gave up making apple pie and just threw everything in the fryer.
Historically, they date back to the 17th century.
Enough history, Avery. Y'all ever try a Dutchie? Them raisins are a game changer.
All right.
Hot take, raisins belong in more pastries. Agree or disagree?
Please support us by liking and sharing.
And don't forget to
All right, there we go. We've got a full comic. We're ready to go. I'm going to start posting these on all the socials here shortly, but we got it done. I got it done fast too. It only took about 2.5 hours. Usually these things take me about 3 hours. So I guess we can start posting now. It's going to be kind of visually boring, but if you want to watch that, but let's see, where is, there it is. So let's see, I'm going to post these. So I start with, let me get my script back. Any thoughts on your favorite donut? Mine was, I did mine first since I got on here first, obviously doing the stream, but mine is a Homer donut, which is basically strawberry glaze and then the sprinkles on top. Then we also had a red velvet, which was a great one. I haven't had too many of those. Boston cream, which I'm a huge fan of too. So those are up there. And then we got chocolate and powdered, kind of two classics you cannot go wrong with. So if you've got a favorite one, even if it's one of these, let me know and we'll add a check mark next to one of those. Let's see. Let me get my ducks in a row. All right, here's our script. I still need to get my text ready for posting on socials. Excuse me. So I get that in there, paste it without, and then I also need a introduction. So this is kind of the, gives you a quick overview of what the heck the episode's about. I use my buddy Claude for this. I was going to say Hume, but that's a different app. It's an AI writing program, and a lot of like just basic stuff, little stuff. And even I use him for a lot of stuff like writing these suckers. Hey, bud, how about this? And then he knows what it is, so he'll write me, kind of the description to use. He'll give me a few options usually. Taglines, that's it. I always forget what I call those. I call them the tagline. The one where last pick becomes first choice. I kind of want to mention, that it's a donut thing. So I don't think that's going to work. Underdogs, leftovers. So I want something that actually mentions donuts. Okay, that one's kind of interesting. So in the history legacy theme there, the second one he has is the one where history lesson gets interrupted by raisins, even though Avery doesn't get to talk much about his history stuff. None of these are kind of really hitting the mark. Can you do some more about donuts? If I can spell donuts, that'd be nice. All right, we'll get him to do some more. If he doesn't do something, then I can just write one myself. But most of the time, he nails it right out of the gate. So the one where donut debate ends with raisins, that's pretty good because that kind of sets up our whole story. I'm gonna go ahead and copy that one. Circular logic meets deep fryer. Bottom of the box. What? That doesn't even make sense. Character one where donut cravings refuse to die. Meets history. So I'm just kind of glancing through these and not reading them all out loud. I think I'm just going to go with this one because I think this one fits really well. The one where the donut debate ends with raisins, because that's kind of our whole story. because we're talking about a Dutchie. I don't know if you've ever had a Dutchie before. I really want to try one. I guess it's more of a Canadian, like northern thing. And from what I can tell, it's like almost like an apple fritter because it's got like crispy edges and stuff, but it also has raisins in it, which I don't have a problem with raisins in pastries. The secret that for all of you that hate raisins and stuff, the secret is you got to rehydrate the raisins, put them in like apple juice or something, even just plain water, and then they become more fruit again, and it's really really good. So if you ever want something like a pastry with raisins in it, make sure it's like that. Anyway, let's see. Okay, we're good with that. The last thing I need for this is going to be, and I got to set up my live, but that's all something else. We need hashtags. So for this one, another AI helping me. I use Gemini, which is Google's AI. Which if there's anybody who's going to know, hashtags and getting some making your post go viral, it's going to be Gem. So I use her. I call her Gem and call her, but who knows. So I'm going to upload Gem my comic and ask her, hey Gem, I can't type today. I can't type very well anyway, but today is even worse. Can you give me 5 hashtags to help this go viral? All right, and we'll let Jem do the hard work for us. All right. You know what? I totally forgot to. I don't think we even got any chats. I don't even know if we got anybody to jump in on YouTube. I'm multi-streaming sounds better. I'm multi-streaming to both TikTok and to YouTube, but I don't know. I haven't really been able to get much action over there. It's like maybe I get like 1 or 2 people chiming in. Hopefully that'll change. Let's see what she gave us. Donut debate, the last fritter. I like that. That's good. All right, I'm going to copy these over. Paste. Donut debate, the last fritter. Foodie life, that's good. Lots of people, I'm sure, watch that. Webcomic, yes, absolutely. And for last but not least, the old FYP, which is definitely good for our for TikTok. So there we go. Okay, let me hide Gem. Let me hide Claude. And I'm ready to start posting. So I know this part's, you know what? Actually, I'm going to get off of here. I'll come back in a little bit and we're going to do, I'm going to come back and I'll probably do some game stream. Oh, I might not have time today. I'm going to try to do some game streaming. Give me a little bit of time to get some stuff. Hopefully I can. If not, then the next stream will be tomorrow, 2 to 3. All right. So keep an eye out. The comic will be posted here in probably like 15, 20 minutes. And then we'll move on to the next one and we'll do another stream tomorrow. And if I'm lucky, if I got some time, I'll do a game stream this afternoon. Maybe you guys will jump in and come check it out. It should give you a notification if I'm live streaming, if you've got that set up. All right. Thank you so much for the hearts. Thank you so much for the roses. Thank you for the gifts. I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me. It was really fun. And definitely thank you for chiming in. I really enjoy when people join the chat. You know what? Here, let me change over to, I just realized I'm still chatting on, let me move that there. There we go. Look at that. Hello, friends. Now I'm actually fit into the screen. Much better. So yeah, we'll do another live chat. I'm trying to do these every day, Monday through Friday. So it'll be 12 to 3 mountain time, or Pacific and mountain, and then 3 to 6 if you're on the East Coast. All right. So keep an eye out. You should get a notification for tomorrow. And like I said, I'll try to game stream tonight if I can, but I've got a few things I gotta get through. As I said before, this is my secondary job, if you will. I do graphic arts and marketing as my first one. So I know there's some stuff I got to get done real quick before we call it a day. Okay, enough rambling. Love you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later. Okay, bye. Okay, how the hell do I turn this thing off again? I guess we can turn this one off first. Okay.